Part 39. Become a disciple of Taoist priest Four Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 385. Chapter 378 Eight-Door Golden Lock Formation. Behind Lupin was an extremely ugly middle-aged woman with fleshless cheeks and narrow eyes. This woman was wearing a black robe, a wooden hairpin on her head, and was holding a snake staff as thick as an goose egg. Her aura was extremely obscure. Poisonous Hand Heavenly King Pan Snake Po, the fourth most powerful person among the 9 heavenly kings of the Black Heart Demon cult, is also the only woman. The coiled snake staff in her hand is 2 spiritual treasures that are forbidden by the spirit. Su Junming sent Chang Situ to take her with the nether bone flag and the soul calling bell. Finally, an old monk with white eyebrows wearing a 100-pin robe came out. It was Zen Masters Hikong who passed away in the hands of Su Junming. After Zen Masters Hikong, a middle-aged man wearing a python robe, a short beard on his chin, a majestic face, and surrounded by the spiritual energy of the 5 elements stepped out. Seeing him, a hint of memory appeared in Su Junming's eyes, but he quickly suppressed it. Dragon Emperor Yingzheng. In the past 20 years, Su Junming has never neglected his training. Because the Dragon Emperor was his chosen container for his 7 future clones. Therefore, he did not completely accumulate elixirs, but spent more than 20 years and relied on the rich spiritual energy in the cave of Daihuang Mountain to train him to the 12 transformations of the nascent soul. His cultivation level is higher than that of Su Junming. This is normal. Dragon Emperor's cultivation qualifications are much higher than Su Junming's. Although understanding is more important than magic power in the path of spiritual cultivation, if the magic power improves rapidly, it is also a huge advantage. The most important thing is that the Dragon Emperor's innate magical powers are incredibly powerful. Especially as your cultivation level increases, you will be able to exert your innate magical power more powerfully. Now he can understand why the Dragon Emperor was able to lead the Qin state to unify the country during the Warring States period when strong men were everywhere. He could even suppress the female fairy Ziwan sent by heaven to the human world with several immortal weapons. If it weren't for the end of heaven's law and his treasure of bronze mirror, he might not be able to kill the Dragon Emperor. Therefore, if you want to deal with the old demon from Black Mountain this time, his role will be even greater than that of Su Junming. After calming down the unnecessary thoughts in my heart, I threw away the Tianluo umbrella that had been refined into a spiritual treasure over the years. The 8 puppets plus Su Junming make a total of 9 people. Staring at the Black Mountain Dharma realm in the distance. Let's start. Shua, the escaping light flies. Dragon Emperor Yingzheng stood in the direction of Qian, Zen Masters Hikong, who had achieved enlightenment in Buddhism and was equivalent to the Yuan Shen in Taoism, stood in the direction of Kun. Led by 2 people, the other 6 people fell into the 6 directions of Zhen, Sun, Gan, Li, Zhen, and Dui respectively. 5 rays of divine light bloomed from Dragon Emperor Yingzheng's head. An 8-foot mirror floated above Zen Masters Hikong's head. Guan Hongxiu activated the 4-elephant sword formation, and Qin Mo and Master Shenying sacrificed Umitba Sacred Mountain and Eagle Wings. Lupin's black dragon armor and coiled dragon halberd were shining brightly. The coiled snake staff in the hands of the coiled snake woman is filled with auras of aura. The aura of the netherworld bone flag in Shang Situ's hand soars to the sky. Dragon Emperor Yingzheng waved his hand, and the umbrella flew high into the sky instantly. This treasure, which Su Junming had been practicing, instantly became thousands of feet tall. The umbrella cover broke away and turned into a Bagua formation. The powerful formation enveloped the entire Black Mountain Dharma realm. The 8 umbrella ribs flew in all directions and turned into iron pillars thousands of feet high. At the same time, they fell into the earth's fire magma according to the Bagua directions. Countless spiritual talismans flew out of the main umbrella ribs, intertwining with each other to form an 8-sided giant flag holding the sky, which was hung on the iron pillar. Dragon Emperor, Ji Kong, Qin Mo, and others formed seals at the same time. 8-door golden lock formation. Bang bang, the 8 giant flags turned into 8 giant gates that were thousands of feet tall. 8 people flew up. Each urges the spirit treasure, combined with the power of the formation. The 8 giant gates, black, white, green, purple, red, blue, green and yellow, instantly expanded 10 times and became 10,000 feet tall. The majestic giant gate, with its great aura and powerful sealing power, isolates the Black Mountain Dharma realm from the outside world. The Dragon Emperor, who was sitting cross-legged on the huge door with the word Qian, pointed his head, and the red divine light expanded instantly. With a volley, the earth fire magma in the formation was instantly emptied. Such an astonishing movement naturally alarmed the old demon of Montenegro, who had made the entire Montenegro Dharma realm his own treasure. A powerful will suddenly came from the legal world. This demon is also ruthless and doesn't talk much. One look at this formation will tell you that the person coming is not good. So without saying a word, he directly mobilized the power of heaven and earth in the Black Mountain Dharma realm, and with a boom, a huge palm measuring thousands of feet in size smacked straight towards the giant gate of Genzi. The person guarding this gate is Lupin. Looking at the giant palm, he made a stroke with the dragon halberd in his palm, and the giant halberd quickly collided with the giant palm. In an instant, thunder rolled and spiritual light burst out. The Genzi divine gate flashed with inspiration and swallowed up all the scattered spiritual energy and the power of heaven and earth in the blink of an eye. The old demon from Montenegro stared hard. Even though he didn't use all his strength with this palm, ordinary souls of the 5th and 6th levels couldn't easily block it. But now, the old demon from Montenegro took a deep breath. Change of palm finger formula. Black mysterious light erupted, and a majestic bull-headed illusion solidified in the air. This bull-headed illusion is thousands of feet high, and its sharp horns seem to tear the sky apart. The bull's eyes are dark and full of evil energy. His ears flashed with divine patterns, which was extremely extraordinary. Soul-eating demonic fire. Dark green flames spurted out from the cow's mouth overwhelmingly. In the blink of an eye, the formation turned into a huge sea of fire. This demonic fire, which is a condensed form of earthly evil qi and yin qi, is not as domineering as qi and yang fire, but it is extremely sinister. Once touched, it cannot be extinguished until it burns to ashes. The Dragon Emperor saw this in his eyes, pointed his hand, and a red light flashed in the back of his head. Like a long neck absorbing water, it absorbs all the magic fire in the blink of an eye. The red divine light passed by shockingly, and the old Black Mountain demon's expression changed drastically, and his figure disappeared instantly, but the bull's head behind his head was wiped out by the red fire divine light. The divine light fell, and with a bang, the entire Black Mountain Dharma realm shook. 100 miles of soil was taken away by the red fire divine light. The divine light fell back to the back of the Dragon Emperor's head in the blink of an eye. The 5 colors of red, black, green, yellow, and white light flashed, and everything returned to calm. Although these 5 divine lights are very similar to the 9 ultimate divine lights that Su Junming once practiced. However, the Dragon Emperor's great 5 elements divine light is suppressed by 5 innate Tai Chi 5 elements fundamental Qi. This kind of 5 elements fundamental Qi is second only to the Taiji level and is a high-level servant. As long as it is not Tai Chi or higher Tai Chu innate Qi, the other Tai Yi, Tai Shi, Tai Su level innate Qi will be devoured and refined in a very short period of time. The lower the level of Qi, the faster it is refined. Therefore, even though the internal space of Dragon Emperor's 5 divine lights is only 1,000 miles in size, it is like a bottomless pit, absorbing all kinds of spiritual energy from the outside world. And even if they are different Qi, they will be transformed into the innate 5 elements Qi by the innate Tai Qi and 5 elements fundamental Qi. It truly possesses the legendary Kongxian's 5-color divine light, which can sweep away everything. The soul-eating demonic fire may be a big problem for you ancient monks, but under the suppression of the innate Tai Chi flame fundamental energy, Rubeazai beat the dog with no return. The old demon from Montenegro looked ugly. Su Junming, do you still want to hide your head and show your tail now? Su Junming said loudly, standing outside the formation with his hands behind his back. Old Black Mountain Demon, you can't even break my formation, so you still want me to show up? Can't you break your formation? Huh, you ignorant young man. If you have a little knowledge, you don't know how high the sky is. If it weren't for me to get out of this cave, I would have killed you in Shijiang City long ago. Really? But now it is Su who has destroyed your Black Heart Demon cult and sealed the gate of your Black Mountain Dharma realm. The old demon from Montenegro's eyes became colder and colder. Do you really think that this king can do nothing to you? Su Junming, who had been observing the Black Mountain Dharma realm with a bronze mirror, discovered that the old demon Yuan Shen sitting cross-legged on the thousand-leaf bone lotus in the Black Temple reached out and took off the tattered netherworld white bone flag from behind. Seeing this scene, Su Junming looked solemn, and the aura of the Eight Treasures spiritual pagoda behind his head was powerful, but it was not released. The old Black Mountain Demon on the thousand-leaf bone lotus shook his hand, and a black aura flew out of the Black Mountain Dharma realm like a sharp arrow. The extremely condensed black light expanded in the blink of an eye. The extremely dignified nether demonic chi was extremely thick. Compared with the black flag Su Junming saw in the Chongyang cave, its power was incomparable. The mighty nether demonic chi surged straight towards the Kanza divine gate. Su Junming suppressed the desire to take action and watched as the overwhelming black ghost energy hit him. A constantly rotating golden light flashed from the giant door in a flash of lightning. The strongest point of the 8-gate golden lock formation is defense. Su Junming's 8 sets of Lingbao, coupled with the Lingbao level Bagua array, are extremely powerful. He didn't know how powerful the Immortals' methods were, but this formation was already the strongest defensive technique he could come up with. Boom! The ghostly demonic energy collides with Bagua. Like a raging flood, it hit an extremely strong dam. Golden light and demonic energy collided with each other and competed with each other. Compared with the impact of the nether demonic chi, the power of the rapidly rotating golden light Bagua became stronger and stronger, and gradually the momentum of the demonic chi weakened. The old Black Mountain Demon, who was also paying attention here, frowned. He grabbed the black flag in his hand and shook it 3 times. 3 rays of black light, like 3 huge waves, crashed directly towards the huge door with the word "gone." Feel the powerful ghostly demonic energy in the black mysterious light. Su Junming's expression changed slightly. Although the defense of the 8-door golden lock formation was strong, it had its limits. He stretched out his hand and pointed. The 8-color spiritual light behind his head was vast, and the powerful 8-color spiritual energy was like a falling Milky Way, sloping down. In the blink of an eye, he collided with the next 2 ghostly demonic energies. Dazzling light illuminated the entire formation space, and a thunderous sound shook the world. Su Junming, you finally couldn't help but take action. The old Black Mountain Demon's eyes flashed, the black flag in his hand soared hundreds of feet, and the mysterious light flashed. The Bone God Demon. Roar. With an earth-shattering roar, a powerful god and demon thousands of feet tall, with 3 heads and 6 arms, and whose body was made of white bones, jumped down from the black flag. With one step, he left the Black Mountain Dharma realm. The 6 arms like Optimus Prime were spread out, and there were 6 white bone giant swords in the huge palms. The 6 swords moved forward, and the powerful sword energy seemed to open up the world, slashing straight ahead. The power of these 6 swords is dozens of times more powerful than the previous arrows of ghostly evil energy. Su Junming saw it in his eyes, took a deep breath, and looked solemn. Disciple Su Junming respectfully invites Emperor Guansheng to come to me. I am as urgent as the law. The aura on his body swelled up in the blink of an eye, and with a wave of his hand, The 8 treasures spirit pagoda flew down into the formation. Following the wind's strength, it instantly became 3,000 feet tall. The talisman of creation in Su Junming's dantian flashed with light. With a finger, the milky white aura went straight into the 8 treasures pagoda. The latter seemed to have taken a big tonic, and with a buzz sound, it nearly doubled again. The majestic pagoda looms over the skull of the bone god and demon. The bone sword reaches the sky. With a bang, the two sides collided. Su Junming opened his palms, and the magic power of creation rolled out. The 8 treasures pagoda grew bigger and bigger, and its power became stronger and stronger. Become a disciple of Taoist priest 4 Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 386. Chapter 379, The Great 5 Elements Divine Light. Click. Huge cracks appeared from the bone sword. 1,000-mile embankment collapses in an ant nest. The strong bone sword broke instantly, and the entire white bone god and demon was crushed to pieces by the 8 treasures spirit pagoda. Seeing everything in his eyes, the old demon from Montenegro finally showed a hint of disbelief in his expression. You actually practiced the Tao of creation. Su Junming took back the 8 treasures pagoda and stood with his hands behind his back. Back in Chongyang Cave, his understanding of the Tao of creation was still at the stage of the red talisman, which had limited effect, so he did not use it. But 12 years later, with the help of the bronze mirror, he had understood the Tao of creation to the realm of purple talismans, and was close to the peak of ordinary cultivation. In today's battle, I tried my best for the first time and it showed great effect. Compared with the creation path that I practice, Su is more curious about what kind of treasure your netherworld bone flag is. It is so broken, but it still has such a powerful power. Did you know that this treasure of mine is called the netherworld bone flag? The old demon from Montenegro flashed his eyes. Su Junming smiled lightly. You should know that I am a weapon refiner, and Shang Situ's netherworld bone flag is still a spiritual treasure that I made through sacrifice. Although this treasure is far less powerful than your divine flag, the auras of the 2 treasures are so similar that it is not difficult to guess. You are really smart. After a pause, Su Junming, I have the divine flags to help me, and the Black Mountain Dharma realm as a barrier. I can attack when I advance, and I can defend when I retreat. It's just a draw between you and me. Draw? Su Junming smiled casually. How can it be a draw? My formation isolates the spiritual energy. If you want to escape, you can only consume the spiritual energy of the cave to feed yourself. The weaker the cave, the smaller the obstacle to me. The 9 kings of the Black Heart Demon sect, the 12 ghost envoys, and most of the followers have been destroyed by me. The remaining Xianjing division and other righteous sects cannot make any big waves. Therefore, I will never. Someone will come to save you. If you continue to consume it, you will only become weaker and weaker. On the contrary, I can become stronger and stronger through spiritual energy. Between you and me, Su's victory is determined. The vitality of the Black Mountain Dharma realm is extinct. There are no spiritual roots to sort out the turbidity, and no spiritual veins to breed spiritual energy. Unlike his Earth Emperor Mountain Cave Heaven, there are phoenix eggs that absorb spiritual energy from the underworld, which can replenish the Dongtian's consumption and even improve the Dongtian's foundation. Therefore, although the power of the cave in Haishan Dharma realm is stronger than that of his Earth Emperor Mountain Cave, it is in a situation where it is becoming less and less powerful and unsustainable. The old demon from Montenegro looked gloomy, and Su Junming's words touched his sore spot. Without the supplement of external spiritual energy, the power of the cave in the Black Mountain Dharma realm can only be rootless and drifting, and the more it is used, the less it will be. It's a pity that most of my soul has been sealed by the sword-locking sword. Although the nether bone flag is powerful, the time I got it is too short, and I can't fully understand its mystery. In addition, this treasure is broken, without my soul. Driven by God, it is difficult to exert its effect. Do you really want to sit in Sleepy City and let this kid run wild? Just when his mind was ups and downs, the 5 elements divine light flew out from behind the Dragon Emperor's head, and with a volley, hundreds of miles of land in the Black Mountain Dharma realm were missing from tens of thousands of miles. When the old demon of Montenegro noticed it, his expression suddenly changed. Impossible, how could you break through the cave heaven blockade of the Black Mountain Dharma realm? The Black Mountain Dharma realm is so strong and the power of the cave is so strong that any monk or spiritual treasure under the immortal will be suppressed as soon as they enter. Not to mention taking away the land and spiritual energy within the Dharma realm. But now the Black Mountain old demon has discovered that the Black Mountain Dharma realm he relies on as the Great Wall is like tatters and can be broken by someone poking it. Seeing his shocked look, Su Junming smiled lightly. The level of the innate Tai Chi 5 elements fundamental Qi is second only to the innate Taoist fundamental Qi. The power of the cave is nothing more than the weather. No matter how strong it is, it can't stop the innate Tai Chi and 5 elements Qi from being swept away. It's like an egg colliding with a stone. The two sides are not on the same level at all. This is also the reason why Su Junming specially brought the puppet body of Dragon Emperor here. Only the great 5 elements divine light condensed from his innate Tai Chi 5 elements fundamental Qi can break the power of the Black Mountain Dharma realm from the outside. Of course, he would definitely not tell the old demon from Montenegro this. The Dragon Emperor activated the great 5 elements divine light to flash down again, and the Black Mountain Dharma realm lost another 100 miles. The old demon from Montenegro narrowed his pupils and gave him a cold look. Didn't say any unnecessary nonsense. When things get to this point, everyone will definitely fight to the death. And Su Junming is not the kind of person who can be coaxed with just a few words. Instead of wasting words, it is better to prepare early. He suddenly pushed the netherworld white bone flag behind him, and the extremely condensed netherworld demonic chi was brushed straight towards the god chain on his body. Ding dong. The chain shook, and the green light flickered, obviously much weaker than before. Su Junming's eyes flashed. The speed at which the Black Mountain old demon destroyed the god chain was several times faster than before. Do you want to get out of trouble at the expense of all the power of the cave? You are indeed a leader of one party, with decisive methods, Su Junming thought to himself. Seeing that the Black Mountain Dharma realm was about to be broken by him, the Black Mountain old demon began to withdraw the spiritual energy from the cave sky without any delay, and drove the netherworld bone flag to wear away the cyan chain. Obviously he wanted to get out of the trap before Su Junming destroyed the cave. Activate the Dragon Emperor puppet to drive the 5 elements of divine light to continuously brush down, like spring-eating leaves, constantly devouring the Black Mountain Dharma realm. Let's see if you're lucky enough to get out of trouble first. Both sides used their own methods to calm down each other. Time passed bit by bit, and half a year passed in the blink of an eye. Half a year later, only the last 3,000 miles of the once tens of thousands of miles of Black Mountain Dharma realm were left. Except for the core area where the Wanzang Black Mountain is located, the entire Dharma realm is transformed into the 5 elements spiritual chi and is refined by the great 5 elements divine light. He activated the bronze mirror and saw that only the thin green rope was left in the body of the old Black Mountain demon. It was obvious that he was about to get out of trouble. We can't wait any longer. Let's see if we can directly destroy the 3,000 miles cave. Su Junming took a breath and looked serious. Disciple Su Junming, I respectfully invite Emperor Guansheng to come to me. I am as urgent as the law. The aura on his body increased rapidly, surpassing his soul in the blink of an eye. The aura of the 8 treasures pagoda behind his head was vast, the 8-color aura turned into thousands of feet, and the vast aura shook the void. Su Junming's fingers changed. Disease. The 1,000-foot spiritual light was like the Milky Way falling from the sky, with an astonishing impact, hitting the Black Mountain Dharma realm 3,000 miles away. Boom! In an instant, the storm surged. Although it is only 3,000 miles away, the Black Mountain Dharma realm is not damaged as expected. Soon he found the reason. Looking at the huge black mountain thousands of feet high. This giant mountain was transformed from the corpse of an old demon from Black Mountain. Although it has been far less powerful than before for thousands of years, it is still the corpse of an immortal. With it suppressing the Black Mountain Dharma realm, unless it is the Dragon Emperor's innate Tai Chi and 5 elements fundamental energy, it will be difficult to shake it. However, if this attack continues, it will not be all without gain. Under the violent shock of the Black Mountain Dharma realm, the area of the cave sky that the Dragon Emperor's puppet body brushed away with the great 5 elements divine light was more than twice as large as before. But if this is achieved by using the divine fighting art, it is somewhat not worth it. After all, his divine fighting skills have a time limit. Staring at the huge black mountain in the center of the cave, I was unwilling to give up. One last try. After the thought fell, Su Junming took a deep breath and directly used the divine fighting art to the 7th level that he could bear. Feeling the surging mana in his body, an unprecedented sense of dominance rose from the bottom of his heart. After a brief understanding, he stretched out his hand and all the surging mana poured into the 8 treasures pagoda. With a buzz sound, the 8 treasures spiritual pagoda turned into a height of 10,000 feet like lightning. Black, white, red, cyan, indigo, purple, green and gold, the 8 colors shine. The 8 spiritual treasures of the Imperial Seal, the Lost Soul Bell, the Pure Yang Ruyi, the Green Bamboo Staff, the Golden Sword, the Water Bowl, the Red Fire Flag and the Dharma Seal shine for thousands of miles. The strong aura made the old Black Mountain demon's face look solemn, but there was a hint of determination in his eyes. Su Junming flew to the top of the tower, his eyes shining brightly. Right palm shot. Town. 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 The 10,000-foot tall 8 treasures spiritual pagoda was like a meteorite, falling crazily under the push of Su Junming. Like Mars hitting the Earth. The vast light made it seem like a sun was rising in the huge formation space. The astonishing movement was like the beginning of the world, making people completely lose their hearing. The powerful shock wave caused the 8-door golden lock array, which was strong enough to defend against immortal weapons, to tremble violently. Under this astonishing impact, only 3,000 miles of the Black Mountain Dharma realm was shattered. The huge Black Mountain cracked open, revealing a 3,000-foot tall bull-headed man with a giant sword stuck in his chest, and a demonic corpse with 6 arms. Click. There was a clearly audible sound of the chain breaking. Su Junming's expression changed and he secretly said, "Not good. Ha ha ha, I am finally out of trouble." A black stream of light flew out from the broken soil. The old demon from Montenegro looked ecstatic, and as the chain reached the end, it became more and more difficult to break free. As a result, Su Junming's last blow was surprisingly powerful. With the powerful impact of the shattered cave sky, he drew the power of heaven and earth and swiped hard, finally breaking free from the shackles of this 1,000 years. He suddenly raised his head and looked straight up into the sky with his scarlet eyes. Although it was Su Junming's help that broke the seal, the Black Mountain old demon didn't feel the slightest gratitude in his heart. "Su Junming, I want to thank you very much." Staring at the cold light, the old Black Mountain demon grabbed the netherworld bone flag behind his back and shook it violently. The tyrannical nether demonic chi surged out overwhelmingly like a river bursting its banks. The power was several times that of the old demon before he was out of trouble. Su Junming stood on the 8 treasures pagoda, dressed in hunting robes, and his aura was astonishing. So what if you get out of trouble, Su can still kill you. The spiritual tower fell, a mighty 8-color spiritual light fell from the sky, and the powerful ghostly demonic energy was crushed into pieces. But soon a giant palm of several thousand feet of white bones held up the falling 8 treasures pagoda. Immediately afterwards, a powerful force surged in, and the 8 treasures spirit pagoda was thrown out forcefully. but the giant palm of white bones was seen extending infinitely, and the torso, head, waist, and thighs all grew. A 10,000-foot tall white bone god and demon stood between the formations with a terrifying force. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Become a disciple of Taoist priest for us. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 387. The old demon from Montenegro sat cross-legged on the head of the white bone god and demon. Su Junming, haven't you always been curious about what kind of treasure my netherworld white bone flag is? I would like to tell you that this treasure has an innate share and is known as an innate spiritual treasure. It is the supreme treasure that everyone in the spiritual world desires to obtain. Although this netherworld white bone banner is only of low quality and was severely damaged in the ancient war, and its power is very high, but when it was born, it also provoked countless monks to fight for it. With my Taoist skills at the level of a true immortal, I killed countless people before I won this treasure. However, I was plotted against by the old thief of King Yundao Zisu's locking god sword, and my physical soul was cut off, and I was defeated in this world. Fortunately, I have practiced cultivation. Although the mysterious method of the three corpses UN was not fully completed, it survived after all. For thousands of years, I founded the Black Heart Demon sect and killed countless people. I fed the netherworld bone flag with billions of ghost souls, and finally restored some of the power of the innate spiritual treasure to this flag. It is your honor to die under this treasure today. Innate spiritual treasure. Su Junming was shocked. He knew about the innate spiritual treasure, but he had never seen it, and he did not know whether it was true or false. However, the aura displayed by the nether bone flag was indeed astonishingly powerful. Array of netherworld bones. The old monster from Haishan shouted angrily, and hundreds of white bone arms flew out from behind the head of the bone god demon as he sat down, and the overwhelming Chao Su Junming came over. In an instant, numerous withered white palm shadows occupied the entire formation space. Su Junming's pupils shrank and he didn't dare to neglect. He activated his magic power and put his palms together fiercely. Back to the days. The 8 treasures pagoda suddenly collapsed and turned into a huge golden light bagua. The vast golden light shines on the heaven and earth, the heaven and earth are shaking, and the 8 hexagrams are constantly rotating. Boom, countless white bone giant palms came up. Bagua aura trembled endlessly, but showed amazing tenacity. Su Junming frowned. He felt that the mana in his body was rapidly depleting. Although the power of heaven and earth was constantly being replenished, the time for the gods to use the true art to summon the gods was limited. If he didn't change his current situation of being passively beaten, he would be beaten to death by the bone troll of the Black Mountain old demon if he couldn't hold on for a few minutes. Fortunately, I have enough cards. Something moved in my heart. The 8 divine gates that had been trapped here changed instantly. The closed gate opened instantly, and a thick golden rope flew straight towards the bone troll. The 8 golden ropes are as powerful as lightning. The old Black Mountain demon who was fighting with Su Junming wanted to interrupt the spellcasting and force the huge bones of the god and demon to avoid it, but obviously he was not that fast. Clang, the golden locks trapped the bone troll's neck, arms, torso, waist and legs respectively. In the 8-door golden lock array, the doors represent the ultimate defense and the locks represent powerful sealing power. Seal up. Su Junming's seal technique changed. The 8 puppets took action at the same time, and the golden locks shone brightly. The old demon from Montenegro changed color instantly, and a powerful suppressive force suppressed the bone troll transformed into the netherworld bone flag. How can it be? His divine flag is an innate spiritual treasure. Although it is broken, it is genuine and comparable to a top-grade immortal weapon. Although Su Junming's formation is powerful, and the ones holding it are all spiritual treasures. When combined together, they are extremely powerful, but how can it be compared with his own netherworld bone flag? I don't believe it, open it. Bang, bang, all the other golden locks were broken free, but only the golden lock on the neck was extremely tough. No matter how hard it struggled, it could not break. The Dragon Emperor's puppet body was sitting on the Kinza Divine Gate, making secrets with his hands, and 5-colored auras flashed behind his head. His innate Tai Chi 5 elements Qi is extremely powerful. Although the developed power is not high, if he wants to break away, it is not that easy. Swish, the Black Mountain old demon saw the other 7 golden chains that he had broken were entangled again. The power that just exploded, trying to break free of the golden lock around his neck, was quickly suppressed again. The old demon from Montenegro looked gloomy, and he could tell. As long as he couldn't break free from the 8 chains at once, there was no way he could escape from this formation. Of course Su Junming didn't want to waste this good opportunity. As soon as the 8 treasures spirit pagoda was activated, the aura was powerful and fell straight towards the bone troll. The old demon from Montenegro was also a decisive person. He gritted his teeth, formed seals with his hands, and suddenly clapped his hands. With a click sound, the white bone troll's head broke. The remaining torso and limbs instantly transformed into ghostly white bone flags. However, it can be seen that this divine flag is obviously much weaker than before. Breaking free from the shackles of the golden lock, the white bone flag rushed straight to the door with the word DUI among the 8 doors like lightning. No, he wants to escape. Su Junming's expression changed, and the 8 treasures spiritual pagoda changed its direction and started to catch up. With a bang, the 8-door golden lock array shook violently. The old demon from Montenegro fiercely urged the netherworld white bone flag, and countless bone palms simultaneously slapped on the DUIZI divine gate. Withstanding so many blows in a row, it instantly exceeded the upper limit of the 8-door golden lock formation's DUIZI divine gate. Along with a series of cracks, the divine door shattered. After struggling to withstand the heavy blow from Su Junming's 8 treasures pagoda, the old demon from Black Mountain finally escaped. Outside was the scorching hot earth fire and magma. The Black Mountain old demon waved his black flag violently, and the already surging magma and earth fire exploded with infinite force in an instant. Su Junming's expression changed drastically. Anyone with a little knowledge of physics knows that once the bottom crust cannot withstand the pressure underground, it will burst and then evolve into volcanoes and earthquakes. Such a catastrophe may not be a problem for monks, but if ordinary people encountered it, there would definitely be countless casualties. Monsters like Black Mountain Old Demon may not care, but a righteous monk like him who pays attention to merit cannot ignore it. Old Black Mountain Demon, do you think you can escape like this? In addition to the Dragon Emperor, Su Junming left the other 7 puppet bodies to calm down the fire, and urged the escape light to chase after them. Hu Tianshen's technique consumes too much mana, and it is inconvenient to do it under the earth. The 2 of them chased and escaped, and soon they were in the air. Looking at the figure in front of him, Su Junming urged Hu Tianshen to perform his technique and caught up in an instant. I've been waiting for this move from you for a long time. The old Black Mountain demon waved the divine flag in his hand, and a long arrow of extremely condensed demonic energy flew straight towards Su Junming's chest. It seemed that he had expected that the other party would appear in this position. Su Junming was secretly shocked. He raised his right palm, and the Dragon Emperor puppet body in his sleeve activated the 5-color divine light to brush through. The long arrow of demonic energy was destroyed with one brush. The face of the old demon from Montenegro changed slightly, and with a wave of his black flag, it turned into ghostly evil energy that filled the sky. Su Junming activated the 8 treasures spiritual pagoda, and the 8-color spiritual light was powerful, quickly sweeping away the evil spirit. At this moment, the old demon had activated the divine flag, and it was thousands of miles away in the sky. The speed of escape is astonishing. Just as Su Junming was about to chase after him, The aura on his body declined rapidly, his face turned pale, and his steps stopped involuntarily. Damn it! The time has come for him to ask God. The puppet body of the Dragon Emperor that was originally placed in his sleeve flew out, and his own body flew into his sleeve. Then, with the Dragon Emperor's puppet body as the main body, he led the 8 treasures spirit pagoda and chased straight towards the Black Mountain Old Demon. Because the puppet body cannot use the ability of the Hushan talisman, it can only use the escape light to catch up. Fortunately, the great 5 elements divine light flies very fast, not much worse than the old demon from Montenegro. The 2 of them chased and escaped, and in the blink of an eye they broke through the sky and arrived outside the world. This is a peaceful void. The stars that could once be seen on the earth have disappeared here. After the Black Mountain Old Demon left this world, he flew farther and farther away, and was about to leave the scope of this world and enter the endless void. But what surprised him was that the guy who was chasing after him stopped at the edge of the world. Give up. Just when he was doubting, a warning sign popped up in his heart, subconsciously urging the netherworld bone flag to block in front of him. A 1,000-foot-long bronze giant axe fell down with a bang, carrying the power of splitting the river and splitting the sea. In addition to the sharp light of the axe, it also contains tremendous power. Immortal weapon. The face of the old Black Mountain demon changed dramatically. He had just escaped from the suppression and his strength had not been restored. He only relied on an incomplete netherworld bone flag to support him. His confidence was really insufficient. This was especially true after being beaten up by Su Junming. I wanted to dodge but couldn't, so I had no choice but to bite the bullet. Shocking thunder exploded, and a powerful shockwave spread far in the void. Although part of the netherworld bone flag was destroyed when the Black Mountain Old Demon escaped from the 8-gate Golden Lock formation, its power has been reduced. But it's still comparable to an immortal weapon. Unfortunately, the old demon from Montenegro has just broken the seal and is not strong enough. Coupled with his lack of preparation, he was instantly knocked backwards by the giant axe. He looked at the demon god who was striding forward from the void, with 2 heads and 4 arms, and was thousands of feet tall. Soldiers of the Zhulang clan, you actually dare to violate the Zhulai covenant and take action against me as a Chu clan, the old Black Mountain demon said angrily. Lord Huosang, who was carrying a giant axe, took back the axe he was about to use and stared at the old Black Mountain demon. Who are you? My name is Haishan, and I am the middle-ranking shaman general in the 9 mountains of Chu clan in Qi County, Shenzhou. Buzz, the stopped giant axe fell down instantly. Damn it! He fiercely urged the nether bone flag to block the axe. But the power within it was too overwhelming, and the old Black Mountain demon was knocked away again. How dare I lie to you, Grandpa Huosang, that my Zhulai tribe mainly cultivates the physical body, not the soul. You are just a group of souls here, how dare you say you are from the Zhulai tribe? You swindler, go to hell. The giant axe was as big as a mountain, and it struck down again with overwhelming force. Seeing the power of this axe, Su Junming was extremely happy. Fortunately, there was no close combat with Lord Huosang, otherwise even if he had the technique of Hu Tian, he would not be able to escape. Compared with Lord Huosang who used the concentration mirror, his current strength is at least dozens of times higher. Boom! With one blow of the axe, the old demon of Black Mountain was shaken and his soul was scattered, falling straight towards the world of Liuzai. Looking at Lord Huosang who was chasing after him, the Black Mountain Old Demon vomited blood in anger. After his physical body was beheaded, he relied on the trace of his soul that he had retained from practicing the 3-corpse mysterious technique, and rested for thousands of years to become the current Black Mountain Old Demon. Unexpectedly, he would be hunted down by his own race just because of this. You idiot! Lord Huosang was immediately furious. How dare you scold me? The 4 arms held the giant axe at the same time, and with all their strength, They slashed straight at the old Black Mountain demon. The majestic light of the axe stretched for tens of thousands of feet. Wherever it passed, the space was torn apart, and a thick black crack emerged from the void. The astonishing blow of the axe caused Su Junming, who was already standing very far away, to fly back thousands of feet. The old demon from Montenegro looked horrified. Use the nether bone flag fiercely. A huge bone shield stood in front of him. Boom! Bones flew, and the entire bone shield was almost cut into two pieces. Although it blocked the light of the axe, the fierce dark energy instantly knocked the old Black Mountain demon away. Chance! Su Junming's eyes lit up. He quickly activated the five elements divine light, flicked it in the air, and put away the nearly shattered Black Mountain old demon soul and the sluggish nether bone flag, and then activated the escape light to fly straight towards the Liuzai world. Lord Huosang, thank you. At the faint voice, Lord Huosang's expression froze. Lord Huosang understood that familiar voice and that breath that he would never forget. After a fight, he actually made a wedding dress for his enemy. It is unbearable. Seeing the figure that had entered the clouds in this world, Lord Huosang was furious. He chased after him, and as soon as he entered this world, endless thunder and lightning, the huge thunder cloud, and the vast divine power were poured down like a basin of cold water, extinguishing the anger in the heart of Lord Huosang. Even if he is already a powerful person at the level of an immortal, he would not dare to challenge the way of heaven in a small world. But seeing his disappearing figure, his extinguished anger increased. The axe slashed out, but in the end it was too far away and had no results. Su Junming, I will never let you go. Listening to the angry voice coming from behind, Su Junming smiled faintly. Feeling that the old Black Mountain demon was suppressed within the great five elements divine light, he was struck by an axe, almost shattering his soul, and he had completely lost the ability to resist. This is really unexpected. Originally, he thought that he would have to go through a hard battle to take down the Black Mountain old demon, and even if he was not careful, he would be run away by the opponent. But the dramatic result was beyond his expectation. Of course, it also saved him a lot of effort. Become a disciple of Taoist priest 4 Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 388. Chapter 381, Netherworld Bone Flag. Because the results of the battle were too great, after destroying the Black Heart Demon sect and killing the old demon from Black Mountain, Su Junming went directly back to the cave of Daihuang Mountain. Arriving at the sky above Taishi Cave in Daihuang Mountain, the Dragon Emperor puppet activated the five elements divine light behind its head, and after refining the Black Mountain Dharma realm, the five elements spiritual energy stored inside rolled out. Su Junming activated the Daihuang Mountain Cave Heaven, and after absorbing this large tonic, it instantly swelled. The Daihuang Mountain Cave Heaven, which was originally only 23,000 miles away, expanded to 69,000 miles away in just half a month. A powerful world that can carry immortals, even if it is just a fragment, and after thousands of years of decay, the power of the cave is still much more powerful than the ordinary world. Feeling the increasingly surging power of the cave, Su Junming felt satisfied. But the harvest from this trip is more than just that. Arriving at Tianchongshan residence in Taiyuan Cave, Su Junming opened the storage room and placed the 3,000-foot-tall old demon corpse of the old Black Mountain demon here. Obviously, the old demon from Black Mountain attaches great importance to his body. The Black Mountain is actually a protective circle. It can protect the vitality of this physical body. As long as he pulls out the giant sword stuck in his chest, he will be possessed by the soul and be reborn. However, that giant sword was obviously an extremely powerful fairy weapon. It was not only extremely sharp, but also contained powerful soul-soothing power. If you want to pull it out, you can't do it with Su Junming's current strength. However, his storage room contains the restrictions of the Tao of creation, which can still maintain the activity of this physical body. Staring at this extremely powerful physical body, Su Junming recalled the conversation between the old Black Mountain demon and Lord Huosang when they were in the void. Where is Chixian Shenzhou? What is the relationship between the Julai tribe and the Julai Chu in Chinese legends? With many doubts, I came to the alchemy room. The flames are blazing in the divine furnace of heavenly works, and Yimen Huangliang is absorbing the power of 7 emotions and 6 desires in the demon's bones and relics. Su Junming's magic formula changed, and a spiritual light disappeared into the divine furnace. In a dream, yellow beams flew out and through the spirit of the old Black Mountain demon who was detained in the great 5 elements divine light. After refining, a trace of Huangliang's spiritual energy emerged, and all the memories in the spirit of the old demon from Black Mountain were displayed in front of him. Unfortunately, his soul was shattered by Lord Huosang's axe, and his memory became incomplete. But it also solved a lot of Su Junming's doubts. Especially the battle involving the death of the old demon from Black Mountain allowed him to truly see the power of the immortal. Even if it was just a memory, the powerful Taoism and the overwhelming power of his movements still made his blood boil and his heart filled with endless yearning. No, the old demon is not dead. The last scene made Su Junming frown and he understood instantly. The old Black Mountain demon who cultivated the 3 corpses Yuan Shen had 3 clones. The first avatar is a mid-level witch general with the head of an ox, a human body and 6 arms from the Chu clan of the Julai tribe. He is also a descendant of the witch tribe in Chinese myths and legends who competed with the demon tribe for heaven and earth, and both sides suffered losses. A middle-grade witch general is only a true immortal in terms of cultivation, but his close combat capability is extremely powerful and he is invincible at the same level. The second clone is a demon cultivator in the realm of true immortals, and the white bone relics of the demon are the objects of the second clone. The third clone is a Buddhist cultivator in the realm of true immortals. The old demon of Montenegro hid the Buddhist cultivator, and only drove the shaman body and the demon body to fight for the netherworld white bone flag. In this way, even if both clones die, he will not completely die. This demon is really cunning. However, the old Black Mountain demon's plan was indeed shrewd. Without his intervention, he would not only have obtained the treasure. The 2 clones will not completely perish. Chi used 3 Panjing Sutras. From this spirit, Su Junming obtained a direct link to the Great Wizard General, which was equivalent to the body training technique of the Golden Immortal. It is also a direct descendant of the Qiyu family from Qi County, China, and is extremely exquisite. With it, Su Junming's body training technique Panhuang Sutra can be regarded as a reference. With the help of the bronze mirror, he can understand the cultivation path of becoming an immortal. Turning his palm, he drove the remaining soul of the old Black Mountain demon into the Huangquan River beneath the Daihuang Mountain. After throwing Yimen Huangliang into the Tiangong divine furnace again, he sat down cross-legged. He pulled his palms together, and a long, tattered black flag appeared in his palms. The Netherworld Bone Flag, a low-grade innate spiritual treasure. Through the memory of the Black Mountain old demon, Su Junming knew. Any treasure has its own destiny. Compared with acquired spiritual treasures, innate spiritual treasures inherently contain Taoism and can help people understand Taoism. Just like the Netherworld White Bone Flag, it contains the Netherworld law. If someone practices this Tao, with the help of this flag, it will be like observing lines on the palm of the hand, and the realm of Taoism will progress rapidly. Just like Su Junming's bronze mirror. The difference is that his bronze mirror can help him understand any avenue, while the innate spiritual treasure can only comprehend the avenue contained in the spiritual treasure. Even so, it is very precious to the monks and can save them a lot of practice time. Become an immortal faster than others. Therefore, Xiantian Lingbao is also called Lingbao Jinaun. If any sect has an innate spiritual treasure to suppress it, its disciples can quickly understand the great path by understanding the laws within this treasure. Even if your understanding is not outstanding, you can still become an immortal. In this way, Strong people emerge in large numbers within the sect, and they naturally become stronger. In addition, innate spiritual treasures also possess innate magical powers, which are usually extremely powerful. There are two innate magical powers possessed by the Netherworld Whitebone Banner. One is called the Netherworld Dharma Realm and the other is called the Whitebone God and Demon. Su Junming has already seen the Bone God and Demon. The strength of the Whitebone God and Demon, the divine power struck down by thousands of bone palms, if it weren't for the extremely high level of the innate Tai Chi 5 elements fundamental energy of the Dragon Emperor's puppet body, and the assistance of the Bagua array and the other 7 sets of spiritual treasures, he would definitely not be able to stop him. Moreover, this was only after the Netherworld Bone Flag was seriously damaged and its power was reduced to 70% or 80%. If it were complete, Su Junming would not be able to imagine the power that would burst out. As for the other innate magical power, Netherworld Dharma Realm, it can turn all things into Netherworld Chi and create the Netherworld world. In this world, you can suppress the enemy's Taoism and improve your own strength, which is somewhat similar to a realm. However, because the Nether Bone Flag was severely damaged, this innate magical power could no longer be used. With a casual move, a piece of cloth as big as a sea bowl flew into the palm of his hand. This was left behind when the old Black Mountain Demon broke away from the golden lock formed by the 5 elements of divine light and escaped. The pieces of cloth flew into the Nether Bone Flag, and with a flash of light, they quickly merged together. The aura of the Netherworld Bone Flag became much stronger. Su Junming waved again, and a long black flag with a breath similar to the Nether Bone Flag flew into his palm. But compared to the tattered sacred flag, this long black flag is completely intact. It is the spiritual treasure that Su Junming created on the basis of Shang Situ's Nether Bone Flag. Of course, this spiritual treasure can be called a simplified version of the innate spiritual treasure, the Netherworld Bone Flag. Both have the same origin. Su Junming put the 2 black flags together and almost didn't need to practice. The tattered divine flag automatically rolled up the long black flag, swallowed it and refined it. With a wave of his sleeves, countless long black flags, large and small, with different auras, flew out from the sleeves. The Netherworld Bone Flag is the most practiced magical weapon in the Black Heart Demon section. Su Junming killed thousands of members of the Black Heart Demon sect and obtained more than 1,000 magic weapons, spiritual weapons, and magical weapon level Netherworld Bone Flags. Of course, most of these more than 1,000 Netherworld Bone Flags are made from the essence of bones, ghosts of humans and animals, yin qi, and evil spirits. That's all the white bone essence, yin energy, and evil spirit. If the tens of millions of ghosts in these Netherworld Bone Flags were used to worship and practice the Netherworld Bone Flags, the huge karma would be enough to exhaust all the merit that Su Junming had worked so hard to accumulate for nearly 100 years. Of course he would not make such a choice. Merit is crucial for him to leave here and go to a higher world. If this were not the case, he would not be as active as before in eradicating the Black Heart Demon cult. After practicing the ritual of the innate spiritual treasure level Netherworld White Bone Flag, he grabbed the sacred flag, activated his magic power, and shook it hard, and the surging black Netherworld Chi brushed through. More than 1,000 Nether Bone Flags of different levels were all shattered, and the essence, yin energy, evil spirit, and resentment of the bones were absorbed and refined by the divine flags. Visible to the naked eye, several of the broken holes on the sacred flags have disappeared. Simply take out all the magic weapons, spiritual weapons, and magic weapons with the ghost attributes in the magic bag, and use them all at once to repair the ghost bone flag. After doing this, 4 of the 12 innate spiritual restraints in the sacred banner became complete. Seeing this scene, Su Junming finally understood the purpose of the Black Mountain Demon to establish the Black Heart Demon cult and kill the world. It was obviously collecting the spirit of the ghosts and bones to repair this innate spiritual treasure. Looking at the human and animal spirits crowding the alchemy room, if he was ruthless and used these spirits to sacrifice to the Netherworld Bone Flag, This treasure would be able to restore at least half of the spiritual ban. It's a pity that Su Junming is not an old black mountain monster with no bottom line after all. With a wave of his hand, Overhaul sent all the beast spirits into the netherworld beneath Daihuang Mountain. With his current understanding of the law of reincarnation, he can already allow mortals to be reincarnated in the cave world of the Earth Emperor Mountain. But if you are born with a spiritual seed or an immortal seed, you will definitely not be able to do that. Looking at the windless and automatic netherworld bone flag in his hand and feeling the powerful aura it exuded, Su Junming's heart surged. In the memory of the old demon from Montenegro, low-grade innate spiritual treasures are all spiritual treasures condensed from the innate Taishi Chi. If the 12 prohibitions are complete, it is better than the best immortal weapon. In addition, there is a more powerful middle-grade innate spiritual treasure in the legend, which is a powerful spiritual treasure condensed entirely from the innate Tai Chi. But the old demon from Montenegro has only heard of it, but has never seen it. Even in Chi County, a country tens of millions of miles away, I have never heard of a family with a mid-grade innate spiritual treasure. In addition, since there are middle-grade products, there are also top-quality ones, even the best ones. The path to immortality is long, and I will search for it up and down. Su Junming's heart was full of excitement and his thoughts were running wild. The memory of the old demon from Montenegro revealed to him a broader and more magnificent world of immortality. This is an endless temptation for Su Junming, who is dedicated to pursuing the ultimate realm of immortality. Of course, you have to eat the rice one bite at a time. Become a disciple of Taoist priest 4 Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 389. The territory of the Daong dynasty spanned tens of thousands of miles, and the capital of the country, Zhongzhou City, was the largest city. The outer city, inner city, and imperial city span nearly 100 kilometers, and the population is as high as millions. In the vast city, tea houses and restaurants are as numerous as the stars in the sky. Nowadays, the tea houses and restaurants throughout Zhongzhou City are filled with practitioners who mention the hip sword. 3 years later, the news that Chongshan master Su Junming had accepted a disciple had spread throughout the Daong dynasty, and even ordinary traffickers and lackeys knew about it. It would be great if I could be accepted into the disciples of Master Chongshan. If nothing else, at least everyone would have a spiritual weapon, a thick and powerful man with a beard said. Cao Lao-san, look at your potential. Genren Chongshan is the only saint craftsman in the spiritual world who can refine spiritual treasures. If you can be accepted by him as a disciple, let alone spiritual weapons, magic weapons are trivial. I can't say, if it is if you serve well in the future, you will be given a few spiritual treasures. Next to him was a thin man with 2 knives stuck in his back, holding a half-eaten chicken leg in his hand, and said with a fat smile. A group of vulgar people are worthy of joining the disciples of Genren Chongshan. The merciless ridicule made several people furious. Who the hell dares to ridicule Grandpa me? Before he finished speaking, there was a pop sound, and the rough man flew into the air, spinning twice in the air before falling down with a bang. The dust was flying, and the tables, chairs, and benches were knocked upside down, and the food on them fell down, pouring water all over the strong man's head and face. Get out, or I'll kill you. Several companions picked up the burly man, who was bleeding from the corner of his mouth and was in a state of embarrassment. After looking hatefully at the young master in plain white not far away, he hurriedly ran out. They have traveled around the world for many years and know best who not to mess with. This young master can wave his palms in the air and use his strength at 100 steps, which is at least innate. In comparison, they have only learned some simple boxing and kicking skills, which can be used to deal with ordinary people. Compared with others, they are not even qualified to lift shoes. For the sake of your own life, it is of course the best thing to do. Brother, they are just ignorant and reckless people. Why should you be as knowledgeable as them? What kind of person is Master Chongshan? How could he accept them as a disciple? Opposite the young man in white, a pretty girl in pink spoke. The young man in white nodded, with a hint of anxiety in his eyebrows. He is a descendant of an ordinary monk family in Xiaochengyuan Mansion, Baishan Province. He has superior aptitude, but he looks down on the martial arts in his family that can only reach the realm of golden elixir. He is determined to join a big sect for long-term development. But after learning about the news that Chongshan Master Su Junming had accepted a disciple, he changed his mind and wanted to become his disciple. Compared with the fierce competition within the sect, Chongshan Genren, who is powerful and can refine weapons, is undoubtedly a better choice. Originally, he was quite confident in himself, but as soon as he came here, he met too many monks who had the same purpose as him. Many of them were younger than him, but had higher cultivation than him. This is what he can see. There are still many people who cannot see him with his cultivation and connections. The competition was fierce, far beyond his imagination. The confidence he once had was leaving him little by little. Brother Yan, this Zhongzhou city is so lively. Two police officers in public uniforms were walking on the street. The younger one was attracted by the bustling scene and looked left and right, dizzying. The tall man next to him, with a big sword on his back, a leopard head with eyes, a long beard, and a bun on top of his head, nodded slightly. Go to the yamen first and pay your errand, and then it's not too late to come and experience the prosperity of Zhongzhou city. The young officer nodded. Brother Yan, I have been hearing from others all this time that the Master Chongshan will set up an array in Zhongzhou city to recruit disciples. Do you know about this? I know. I just don't know who this Master Chongshan is, who can actually make millions of people yearn for this great Zhongzhou, the most beautiful place at the feet of the emperor. He must be a great monk with a high level of cultivation, maybe a nascent soul. The tall monk glanced at his companion and smiled. Zhongzhou Wuhua Tianbao is the essence of the Daong dynasty. Although the Yuanying monks are powerful, they are nothing here. In his opinion, this Master Chongshan must be a legendary Yuanshen monk. If you have the chance, you should give it a try. The tall monk thought to himself. He was proud of his talent and entered Taoism through martial arts, and achieved innate perfection in just 10 years. Unfortunately, as a casual cultivator, he has no way forward. He originally wanted to join the Xianjing division, but the atmosphere of flattery and partisanship in the Xianjing division really disgusted him, so he gave up later. The several sects I came into contact with were also aloof and condescending. Therefore, after sending off this errand, he planned to leave the yamen and travel across mountains and rivers in search of opportunities. Unexpectedly, as soon as he arrived in Zhongzhou, he would meet a top monk and take over as a disciple. To be able to openly recruit disciples in the land of Zhongzhou, he must not be a demon. He is willing to give it a try. Thousands of feet in the air above Zhongzhou city, a woman in red stood in the sky. He looked at the outside of Zhongzhou city, stunned. Suddenly, his eyes moved slightly, but he did not turn around. Along with a ray of sword light, a handsome-looking man wearing a white cloak and a jade crown appeared next to her. "Why are you here?" the woman said calmly. "I have just received the news from the Xianjing department of the 7 southern provinces. The Black Heart Demon sect, which has brought disaster to the south for hundreds of years, has been uprooted. The 9 heavenly kings and the 12 ghosts have all disappeared. The old demon of Black Mountain and the Black Mountain Dharma realm have been destroyed." Although it had been some time since the man received the news, he still couldn't hide the shock in his tone. The woman trembled and took a deep breath. After a moment, his tone trembled. "He did it? One person has destroyed a sect that was suppressed by Yuanshen monks and dozens of Yuanying monks. In the hundreds of years since the founding of Daong, no one has ever done it." The man turned his head and looked at her soft and pretty face. "It is indeed extraordinary for a man to be attracted by Jade Rakshasa. The corners of Xiao Hunga's mouth raised slightly, but they quickly calmed down. Any news about him? The man shook his head. A war broke out above Tianese province, but it was short-lived. When Chen Liufei went to check, the people had already left. Chen Lu is the commander of the Tianese province of the Xianjing division. It's been a month now, right? The man nodded. Although Su Junming is powerful and has many spiritual treasures, it is not easy to destroy the Black Heart Demon cult, especially to kill the old demon of Black Mountain. I think he should be healing in the cave of Daihuang Mountain now. As soon as he finished speaking, he saw a sword light flying from the north of Zhongzhou city, and then a huge archway with a height of 100 feet and made of bluestone suddenly fell from the sky. In an instant, there are thousands of auras, thousands of auspicious colors, and the powerful aura covers thousands of miles. The huge movement instantly shocked the entire Zhongzhou city. Before anyone could react, a mighty and majestic voice, like the voice of the gods, rang in everyone's ears. I am Su Junming, the real person of Chongshan. Today I have set up a formation outside Zhongzhou city to recruit disciples. Anyone who can enter this sect, regardless of the immortals, should be my disciple and pass on my Taoism. Shimin has been here for 3 years. If you want to try it, come quickly. As the voice fell, countless cultivators who came for this purpose rushed towards the place where the stone gate fell, the top of a short mountain in the north of Zhongzhou city. Among them are the nascent soul and golden pill who can fly into the sky and escape from the earth, as well as the Xiantian and Jizu who can lift the sword and cross the sword, and even some ordinary people who envy the immortal family's methods but have no way to practice. Xiao Hunga and the man in white looked at each other, and they activated the escape light and flew straight towards the stone gate. A land of hundreds of miles can be reached in an instant for them. When he saw the white-haired man sitting cross-legged above the stone door, meditating with his eyes closed, Xiao Hunga showed a trace of disappointment on his face. The person who came was not Su Junming, but Guan Hongxiu, the puppet he trained. Fellow Taoist Xiao, you are fine. Su Junming's puppetry skills are unparalleled. The puppet he controls looks like an ordinary monk except that it has no heartbeat and breathing and is just a dead object. Su Junming. Xiao Hunga took a deep breath. Where is your true body? Daihuang Mountain Cave Heaven. Why don't you come? It's not a big deal if I want to recruit a disciple on the spur of the moment. I don't need to take action personally. After finishing speaking, Su Junming turned to look at the man in white. You must be Ye Gaiun, the Qingtian sword master of the Xianjing division, right? It's Yet. Ye Gaiun cupped his fists and saluted. Thank you, Taoist fellow Su, for your righteous action in slaying the Black Heart Demon sect and eliminating a great harm to me, Daong. If you really want to thank Su, let me study in your Xianjing division library for a few more years. If fellow Taoists are willing, the Xianjing Si Tibetan Scripture Pavilion will be open to fellow Taoists at any time. That's good. Ye Gaiun glanced at the giant bluestone door under Su Junming's seat. The 3 golden seal characters of Dishenmen came into view. I didn't expect the real person to use spiritual treasures to recruit disciples. Smile lightly. If fellow Taoist Ye has spiritual materials, he can come to Su to help him practice. Ye Gaiun's eyes lit up. Although Ye is not as wealthy as Taoist brother, he has accumulated some experience through years of practice. I will not bother you again until Taoist friend has finished accepting disciples. The puppet body nodded. Xiao Hunga's eyes flashed, and just as she was about to ask another question, dozens of streams of light came flying towards her, interrupting her words. As more and more people wanted to become disciples, the gate of Earth God was soon overcrowded. I'll wait to see the real person. The voices of tens of thousands of people, although somewhat chaotic, were deafening and shocking. You don't have to be polite. A middle-aged monk wearing a purple robe and whose aura was nascent soul said loudly. Yang Yu and Qing met the real person. I wonder what the conditions are for the real person to accept a disciple. After looking at him, Su Junming's calm voice reached everyone's ears clearly. Those with evil intentions will not be accepted. Don't accept those who don't respect your elders. Those who are too selfish will not be accepted. Those with bad conduct will not be accepted. No one with poor qualifications will be accepted. Those with poor understanding will not be accepted. Those with weak perseverance will not be accepted. These 7 people should not be my disciples. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Become a disciple of Taoist priest for us. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 390. If you don't accept the real person 7 times, you haven't eliminated the demon clan. If there are demon monks who can pass the real person's test, the real person will also be accepted as a disciple. Su Junming looked in the direction of the voice. The speaker was a beautiful woman wearing a yellow dress. Although this woman is full of Tao Qi, she is actually a fox demon. After thinking for a while, he calmly said, I didn't say anything, so I just accepted it. Not for real people. A young scholar stood out from the crowd, bowed first and then said loudly, the demon tribe is a kind of people who wear hair and wear horns. They eat flesh and blood, and hide their animal nature in their hearts. Even if they are kind for a while, they will inevitably cause disaster. In the human world, if the real person accepts this person, he will not mention that he will help Joe to commit evil and cause countless killings. I hope the real person will understand clearly and take back his life. Su Junming's eyes were calm. May I have your name? Luo Xiao, who was born late, is a casual cultivator of golden elixir. Rogue cultivator? Haha, 18 years ago you poisoned Master Rong Cheng, occupied his cave, and took away his treasure, and now you have become a casual cultivator. Luo Xiao's expression changed greatly. Real person. He activated the puppet body, waved his big sleeves, and the powerful mana wrapped around Luo Xiao, fanned him thousands of feet away, and fell to the ground in a panic. Today is the day when I start recruiting disciples. I don't want to see blood, otherwise you, an ungrateful disciple, will be killed with one sword. Get out. Luo Xiao got up, not daring to say anything, and quickly urged the escape light to fly towards the distance. Looking at his actions, one knew that what Su Junming said was true. Of course, being able to know this person's past is thanks to his increasingly sophisticated destiny talismans and calculation methods. His majestic eyes slowly swept over everyone, and no one who made eye contact with him would not bow their heads. I firmly believe that all beings are equal, and I never judge good or evil based on race. Regardless of whether it is human or demon, as long as you can pass my test, you can join my section. If you are not satisfied, you can leave. Okay, that's all I have to say. As he turned his hands, a ray of light entered the earth god gate under the seat. The thick and hard stone door slowly opened, revealing a dreamy and mysterious world surrounded by colorful clouds. Some people were curious and used their spiritual consciousness to peek, only to find that their spiritual consciousness seemed to disappear as soon as it came into contact with the colorful clouds. There was a pain in my head, and I quickly took back my consciousness. You go in. If you can pass the test, you will come back to me. If you can't, the Earth God Gate will send you down the mountain. Su Junming manipulated the puppet and waved his sleeves, and 3 lotus thrones grew above the Earth God Gate. After saying that, he closed his eyes and said no more words. Everyone, look at me and I look at you. After the first crab eater appeared, the rest swarmed towards the Earth God Gate. The 100-foot stone gate seemed to have endless space, and hundreds of thousands of people poured in without seeing any changes. Of course, these hundreds of thousands of people are all monks. If you include the ordinary people who come here, the number becomes even more. Most of them were quickly eliminated by Shimin. Only 1 or 2 out of 10 were tested for more than 3 days, and no more than 1% were tested for more than 7 days. There was a huge flow of people at Dishenman. As more and more people were eliminated, everyone was complaining about the harsh test. However, even though Luo Xiao was dissatisfied when he saw that no one was selected, no one dared to speak out. Everyone is curious, what kind of person is valued by Su Junming? In fact, not only them, but also Ye Gaiyun and Xiao Hongge who had not left were also curious about what kind of people could fall into his eyes. You must know that many of the monks who entered the Earth God sect this time are well-known talents in the practice world. If it were the Xianjing division, people like this would be eager to get them, but when it comes to Su Junming, they are discarded like worn shoes. 1 month, 2 months, half a year in the blink of an eye. In the past 6 months, nearly 10 million people have entered the Earth God Gate, but the 3 lotus seats next to Su Junming have always been empty. There are still very few people who are still unhappy and want to stay here to see the results. Of course, most of those who remain are conceited geniuses and arrogant people. Fellow Taoist Su. Ye Gaiyun couldn't help but feel curious and was about to speak. In an instant, he saw the puppet body Guan Hongxiu, who had been sitting cross-legged above the Earth God Gate, suddenly opened his eyes. Immediately after the Dishan gate flashed with light, a tall man with a large bronze sword on his back, a beard, a leopard head and eyes, and an iron crown binding his hair appeared on the stone lotus on Su Junming's left side. The strong man looked at the familiar and unfamiliar scene in front of him, and his eyes were in a trance for a moment. It took a long time to react. Past. May I have your name? A majestic yet gentle voice came. The strong man had a sudden idea in his heart. When he saw Su Junming sitting cross-legged next to him, he quickly knelt down. Yan Chixia, a native of Fengzhou in Baishuo province, pays homage to Master Chongshan. Yan Chixia? Your name is Yan Chixia? Su Junming said in surprise. It's a certain, disciple. Just when I was about to say a certain family out of habit, I remembered that these quack words were too rude in front of the elders, so I changed my words again. He looked at the bearded man kneeling in front of him. Su Junming never expected that he would take Yan Chixia under his tutelage after killing the old demon from Black Mountain. However, being able to pass the test of the Earth God sect proves that Yan Chixia has an excellent talent for cultivation and is no less talented than her other 3 disciples. In this case, accept it and accept it. Are you willing to become your teacher? Yan Chixia's face showed excitement. During his time in Zhongzhou City, he had learned about Su Junming's past deeds from others. Kill demons and protect the common people. Just what he had always longed to do. Willing. He Dongwei Wushuan dares to ask the real person to clarify his doubts. The loud and angry voice interrupted Su Junming's next words. Turning around to look, a handsome man wearing a navy blue robe with a face like a crown jewel came into view. Around him, there were many young monks. What's the matter? Real person, Wei Wushuan is no more than 10 years old, and his cultivation has reached the 4th level of the Golden Core. And this brother Yan, from the looks of it, is at least 30 years old, but his cultivation is only innately perfect. In terms of qualifications, he is obviously not as good as me. When it comes to character, Wushuan has killed nearly 100 demons and ghosts since his debut, and has performed thousands of good deeds. He has never surpassed his parents and teachers in the slightest. Why can Brother Yan be admitted to the real disciple, but we can't? Look at the injustice in his heart, and then look at the similar expressions on everyone around him. Do you have the same idea as him? Su Junming said calmly. Please ask the real person to clarify my doubts. The young people around Wei Wushuan said respectfully. They were all geniuses in the words of their respective teachers. They were all higher in cultivation than Yan Chixia, but now that he had the upper hand, they were all upset. Su Junming nodded slightly and said calmly. Yan Chixia, tell them, how long will you live this year? This disciple was born in the 6th year of Shuping, and he is exactly 24 years old now. Yan Chixia nodded and said. 24 years old. It's a lie. He's like that. Even if he says he's 40, people will believe him. There was an uproar in the crowd. Indeed, Yan Chixia's unkempt appearance does not look like a young man of only 24 years old. Su Junming continued, although he is older than you and his cultivation level is not as high as yours, he does not have a family teacher behind you like you. He can get pills, listen to teachings, and speed up his cultivation. As a casual cultivator, he was able to enter Taoism through martial arts at the age of 24. His qualifications are no worse than yours. However, the reason why Pandeo accepted him is that his qualifications are only one of them. Come and see. With a finger, the clouds floated above the stone door, and soon a giant mirror several feet long emerged from the void. A picture soon appeared in the mirror. You have entered the stone gate, and you must also know the illusion and test inside. These are the illusions Yan Chixia experienced. It was like watching a movie. In the first fantasy, Yan Chixia was reincarnated into an Aryan family. His father died young, when he was only 12 years old, so he went hunting in the mountains to support a family and served his mother with great filial piety. Later, he would marry a wife and have children, and his life would be peaceful even though he was poor. Until one day, he went hunting in the mountains and broke his leg, and his life suddenly fell into trouble. At this time, there was a wealthy family named Huang in the town who often helped him, and the Yan family gradually got through the difficulties. As a result, the two families became close. The Huang family never thought that the Yan family was just a poor hunter, and often let Yan Chixia come to his house to drink. The two slept together and were as close as brothers. Until one day, Zhou, the wife's uncle of the county official's family, fell in love with a piece of land belonging to the Huang family. The Huang family's land was the burial place of the ancestors and had excellent feng shui. In addition, Zhou's offer was too low, so he never agreed. The Zhou family colluded with the county magistrates and framed the Huang family. Huang Ren, the head of the Huang family, colluded with the bandits and was thrown into prison. After being beaten, he took away all the Huang family's property. After Huang Ren was released from prison, he was depressed and died of vomiting blood. Yan Chixia filed a complaint with the state government, but the officials came to protect each other and acted in an awkward manner. The county magistrate threatened Yan and Wang's wives and children, so Yan Chixia had to compromise. Then he took Huang Ren's mother, wife, and children to his home. When the children of the two families grew up, they took their bows and knives and killed all the family members except the county officials, old and young, at night. Die generously. Loyalty, filial piety, and justice are fully demonstrated through this illusion. In the second fantasy, Yan Chixia was reincarnated into a rich peasant family with little assets and heirlooms of poetry and calligraphy. He lost his father when he was 10 years old and his mother when he was 13. Because he concentrated on studying instead of giving birth, his family gradually declined. However, Yan Chixia has a beautiful chest and is extremely talented. A poetry meeting solidified the favor of Qin Qiluo, the city's courtesan. Qin Qiluo sympathized with his literary talents and did not mind his poverty. He used his many years of savings to support his studies. Ho Yan Chixia went to Beijing to take the exam, and before leaving, she agreed that if she was admitted to high school, she would redeem her life for Qin Qiluo and marry her. As a result, Yan Chixia became the #1 scholar in high school and became more favored by the emperor, who wanted to recruit him as his consort. Yan Chixia did not forget what she said before, and gave up her position as the #1 scholar in high school after studying hard for many years, and her status as a princess with the most beautiful woman in the world. She returned to her hometown, took Qin Qiluo away, and became a couple of gods and immortals. In the third fantasy, Yan Shixia was reincarnated as a Taoist priest in a temple. When I was young, I saw the Taoist teachings of practitioners several times, and I decided to practice Taoism and become an immortal. Since he was 18 years old, he has traveled all over the world's famous mountains and rivers, and almost died from the mouths of wild beasts countless times. He wandered between life and death for half a century. Until he died of old age, he never changed his ambition to practice Taoism and become an immortal. The fourth illusion, the fifth illusion, the sixth illusion, all the way to the 365th. No matter, in every fantasy, Yan Shixia showed the qualities of loyalty, filial piety, justice, hatred of evil as much as hatred, and the promise of 1,000 pieces of gold. In terms of spiritual practice, perseverance is difficult, and no amount of hardship can shake his ambition. Although his qualifications are not the best, he is still a genius. His understanding is even better, and his perseverance is especially outstanding. After watching the 365 illusions, everyone was silent. Become a disciple of Taoist priest for us. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 391. Chapter 384, Taoist in Green Robe. There are 365 illusions in my divine sect, as many as those in heaven and earth. If you can pass them all, you can become my disciple, join my sect, and teach me my Taoism. But excluding Yan Shixia, the number of you who have experienced the most illusions is only 98. This is why I eliminated you but kept him. As for why you were eliminated, I believe you all should know. Wei Wuxian's expression changed, and they naturally knew why they were eliminated. It's just that there are so many people here that it's hard to talk. Oh my God, it turns out there are 365 illusions. This test is too perverted. Yes, yes. When we were chatting before, I passed through 9 illusions, and I felt that I was amazing. I didn't expect that Yan Shixia's perversion actually passed all of them. Oh, I didn't expect Master Chongshan to be so strict in accepting disciples. After everyone around came to their senses, they immediately started talking. The noisy sound relieved the embarrassment of Wei Wuxian and others. After bowing to Su Junming, he turned around and left in a somewhat embarrassed manner. Manipulating the puppet body, he took out a spiritual talisman from his arms and started offering it. A 3-foot-long black space channel appeared in front of him. Go. My master is waiting for you at Chongshan residence. After Yan Shixia respectfully responded with a yes, she took a deep breath and flew into the passage. The puppet body waved its sleeves and swept across, and the space channel disappeared. Seeing this scene, everyone around them couldn't help but look envious on their faces. Fellow Taoist, yeah, I want to visit the library pavilion. Is that okay? What about fellow Taoists recruiting disciples? The puppet body waved its hand, and a stream of light flew out. He transformed into a giant yellow-haired man wearing a brocade robe and a lion's nose and a wide mouth. Ye Gaiyun's pupils shrank. Although he knew that this person was killed by Su Junming, he still subconsciously became on guard. Qin Mo, the king of Tuashan. Fellow Taoist, yeah, let's go. Qin Mo said. Ye Gaiyun took a deep breath. Although I know that Qin Mo has been killed by fellow Taoist Su, it is still difficult for Ye to accept this face. Fellow Taoist Ye has cultivated to the level of Yuan Shen. How can he still step over a skin statue? Haha, what fellow Taoist said is true, it was Ye who fell into the lower ranks. Turn around. Please come with Ye. After Qin Mo nodded, his eyes turned. Opening his right palm, a red talisman flew towards Xiao Hunga beside him. The latter subconsciously caught it. Looking at Qin Mo flying straight towards Zhongzhou city, his consciousness was immersed in the spiritual talisman. 2 lines of characters reflected in Xiao Hunga's sea of consciousness. I only admire the great road and have no intention of loving my children. Xiao Hunga's expression darkened. Is this your answer? He turned around and looked at Guan Hongxiu, who was meditating with his eyes closed, looking like a corpse. Xiao Hunga's expression changed, and he suddenly crushed the red jade talisman in his hand. Since you don't have any intention, why should I beg so hard that we won't see you again? Hen Hen glanced behind the puppet, turned around and flew towards Zhongzhou city. The puppet opened his eyes, glanced at the disappearing light, and sighed secretly. Although Xiao Hunga is good, he is also an ideal Taoist companion. But now his heart is full of Tao, leaving no room for love. In this case, long-term pain is worse than short-term pain. It would be better for both parties to make it clear earlier. As time passed by, word spread about Su Junming's 365th level illusion test at the Divine Gate. The number of ordinary people coming here every day was decreasing, but more and more people from the cultivation world were coming. However, no one could break through the 365 levels of illusion like Yan Chixia and was accepted into his sect. 2 years passed in the blink of an eye. The Earth God Gate is as majestic as before, and the puppet is still sitting cross-legged on the lotus seat despite the red snow, never moving a finger. The low hill where the stone gate is located is no longer as crowded as before. Occasionally, people will come, bow to the figure sitting cross-legged, and then step into the Earth God Gate. At the end of the day, no more than a few hundred people came here to take the test. Although there are few, hundreds of thousands of monks under Daong Yuan Shen, as well as millions of overseas human demon monks, have come here to take the test, but still only Yan Chixia can pass. Suddenly, a group of people wearing bright clothes and angry horses walked towards the mountain. The puppet's eyelids trembled slightly, and after a brief glance, they closed again. The group came to the top of the mountain. A eunuch wearing brocade clothes and a white face without beard walked out from a group of generals with helmets and armor. With a step, the clouds quickly rose up to 100 feet, and stood 3 feet away in front of Su Junming. The imperial eunuch Chenda meets with Master Chongshan. What's the matter? Your Majesty heard that the real person killed the old demon of Montenegro, eliminated the Black Mountain demon sect, and made great contributions to stabilizing the 7 southern provinces of Daong. He specially recruited the real person to enter the palace to reward him. Award? I wonder what your Majesty wants to reward me for. The puppet body slowly opened its eyes. The real person is making things difficult for the villain. The villain is just a small eunuch, so how can he know about His Majesty's holy judgment? However, your Majesty has always been magnanimous, and the real person has made great achievements, so your Majesty must be grateful. Su Junming smiled lightly. The so-called deep gratitude is nothing more than gold, jade, jewelry, and high-ranking officials and generous salaries. Gold, jade, and jewelry are not rare to him, even magic weapons are just ordinary things to him now. As for the spiritual treasure, even if there was one in the royal family, they would not give it to him. In the end, Su Junming abandoned the high-ranking official and gave him a good salary. If you reply to your Majesty for me, tell me that Su Junming is an outsider. It is his duty to kill demons and bring peace to the world, and he does not need rewards. Chenda's face changed slightly. Genren, your Majesty is still waiting for the real master in the Shinwu Hall. He manipulated the puppet body and waved his sleeves, and the surging mana turned into a violent wave, sweeping up Chenda and flying down the mountain with the imperial guards below. Chenda, who was at the 8th level of the Golden Core realm, had no power to resist and was thrown to the ground. He climbed up in embarrassment and took a sharp look at the top of the mountain, but he didn't dare to say anything more. He took the imperial guards who came with him and hurried towards Zhongzhou city. Boom! The exquisite jade pen holder was smashed to pieces. Extremely arrogant and extremely bold, he actually dared to blatantly reject my imperial edict and injured the chamberlain I sent. A young man wearing a dragon robe was furious and roaring like thunder. His chest heaved, his head turned suddenly, his bloodshot eyes looked like a beast that was choosing people to devour. National Master, I want him dead. Go kill him quickly. Wearing a bright red cassock, a Varokana hat on his head, and holding a 9-ringed tin staff, the tall and thin old monk faced the angry gaze of the other party with a calm expression. Your Majesty, calm down. Calm down. The man walked up to him angrily, with the tip of his nose almost touching the old monk's face. You ask me to calm down? He has already hit me in the face. If I don't express any more, my majesty will be ruined. How can I have the face to lead the Daong dynasty? The old monk calmly wiped away the saliva that sprayed on his face. Your Majesty, you should know that Chongshan Master Su Junming single-handedly destroyed the Black Mountain Demon section. He is so powerful that even the old monk and the Xianjing division may not be able to defeat him. If we can win, that's all. If we lose, I'm afraid the Daong dynasty will be overthrown and His Majesty's throne will be unstable. The young emperor's face changed slightly, and there was a hint of fear in his eyes. He had finally won the kingdom from his father and eldest brother. He had not enjoyed enough glory, wealth, and supreme power, so how could he throw it away? Take a deep breath. Is that the end of it? Of course not. Please put aside the fury of thunder for the time being. The old minister's skills have reached a critical moment. In a few years, he will be able to break through. At that time, he will personally go to Daihuang Mountain to kill Su Junming for your majesty and wash away what he has suffered today. Humiliation. How many more years do we have to wait? The tone was full of reluctance. Those who achieve great things should be patient. The emperor has only been on the throne for 5 years, and the spring and autumn period is at its peak. Why rush? Just follow the advice of the imperial master. The emperor flicked his sleeves and walked out. Watching his departing back, Sahang stared with deep eyes for a moment, then his figure gradually blurred and disappeared into the hall. Su Junming didn't have much scruples about the emperor of Daong. The human emperors of this era are simply incomparable to the human emperors of ancient times who dominated the world, used immortals and demons as their ministers, and fought against the emperor of heaven. As long as you don't think about changing dynasties and don't touch the dragon spirit of the dynasty, with Su Junming's current cultivation and treasures, there may be monks in Daong who can defeat him, but there is no one who can kill him. Therefore, he quickly put the matter of rejecting Emperor Daong's recruitment into the back of his mind. The days are passing by, and the 3-year period is about to pass. One night, a Taoist wearing a green robe walked towards Tianmen Mountain. Tianmen Mountain is the short mountain where Su Junming placed the Dishen Gate. If the mountain is not high, it will be famous if there are immortals; if the water is not deep, if there is a dragon, it will be spiritual. The once nameless mountain, because of Su Junming, has become a famous mountain near Zhongzhou city, and has become a frequent place for literati, poets, talents, and beauties to go for outings. The Taoist slowly walked to the top of the mountain and looked at the majestic blue stone gate embedded in the mountain. It is indeed a good spiritual treasure. After examining it for a moment, he prepared to walk towards the stone door. Qi, the sharp sword energy flew through the air and drew a 3-foot-long sword mark in front of the Taoist. Fellow Taoist, this is not your place. At some point, the puppet body Guan Hongxiu, who was meditating with his eyes closed, opened his eyes. The green-robed Taoist smiled faintly. Didn't fellow Daoist Su advocate that there should be no discrimination, and that both humans and monsters can enter the sect to try it out? Why, did you change your mind when you arrived at Pandao's place? The rules set by Su will naturally not change. However, fellow Taoists are not among Su's disciples. Oh, why? It's just a puppet body. Do you really think Su can't see it? Although it is a puppet body, it can still rely on the magic of the bronze mirror. Even though the green-robed Taoist looked the same as a living person, under the divine light of the bronze mirror, his soul in the sea of consciousness had a centipede head growing out of his human body. He has seen the demon souls of the demon clan, and they are definitely not like this. The King Bao Taoist's expression changed slightly. His innate magical powers are unparalleled, and there are very few people who can see through them so far in practice. Does this Su Junming still have a kind of spiritual treasure that can be used for exploration? No, even this kind of spiritual treasure cannot see through the wonders of my heavenly centipede transformation technique, King Bao Taoist thought secretly. Become a disciple of Taoist priest 4 Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 392. Fellow Taoist Su, don't let me in. Just say it bluntly. Why should you say evil words? Taoist King Bao said coldly. Su Junming activated the 4-elephant sword array behind the puppet, and the sword chirped loudly and sweetly. A powerful sword energy filled the air, and the entire Tianmen mountain was filled with chills. If you don't leave, I will have a fight with Su. Haha, I have long heard that Su Junming, the master of Chongshan, has unparalleled sword skills, and I am about to learn from him today. The green-robed Taoist's body was filled with magical power, and the light soared into the sky. Su Junming controlled the puppet body, took a step, and followed closely. At this sight, the two of them arrived thousands of feet high in the sky. The roaring wind stirred up the robes, and the two were hundreds of feet apart. Just the exchange of momentum caused waves of low thunder to resound in the void. The increasingly surging mana is like a river in a storm, with each wave rising higher than the other. When the momentum of both sides reaches its peak. Choke, two sword sounds rose into the sky. Demon Slayer Sword. Golden Centipede Sword. The powerful demon-slaying sword energy surged away like a roaring river. The golden and green golden centipede sword chi was like a giant meandering golden centipede, roaring and rushing forward. Boom! The two sword energies met together, like two angry lions biting and colliding with each other, trying to overwhelm each other. Slowly disappear together. The infinite immortal sword. With two sword lights, one black and one red, the two dragons emerged from the sea and entangled each other. The sword energy was several times more powerful than before. The King Bao Taoist looked at the tyrannical sword energy that was spinning and strangling like crazy, his expression full of caution. Golden Centipede Sword and Shield. The curved golden centipede sword was coiled into a ball, the bright golden light almost condensed into substance, and it rotated rapidly at the same time. The two collide. The black and red light spun crazily like a huge drill, and countless golden lights were crushed. However, the tenacity of the golden ball was beyond Su Junming's expectation, and it actually blocked his combined swords. The huge noise of the two fighting against each other shocked the entire Zhongzhou city. Countless rays of light flew over. In particular, Ye Gaiyun was the first to arrive here. When he saw the two sides fighting in the air, his pupils shrank and there was a hint of shock in his eyes. Who is that person? A soft voice with a touch of coldness sounded beside him, and Ye Gaiyun knew who was coming without looking back. I don't know. But this person's cultivation level is really at the 3rd level of Yuan Shen. The spiritual treasure in his hand is at least a high-grade spiritual treasure. Xiao Hunga nodded slightly, looked at the green-robed Taoist for a while, and quickly focused on Su Junming's puppet body, Guan Hongxiu. Fellow Taoist Su is worthy of being a weapon refiner. The puppet he trained in the ritual also has such a powerful spiritual treasure beside him. That's the 4-elephants sword formation he practiced, Xiao Hunga said suddenly. 4-elephants sword array? 4 Lingbao level flying swords. Ye Gaiyun's face showed deep envy. He is a sword cultivator himself. Although the sword cultivator claims that one sword can defeat all kinds of magic, if he can have an extra flying sword, it will undoubtedly greatly improve his combat power. It's a pity that flying swords are difficult to practice. Even though he is the governor of the Xianjing division, he only has a Lingbao level flying cloud sword in his hand. At this time, the expression of the green-robed Taoist who blocked Su Junming's two swords suddenly changed. Because a third flying sword flew out of the sword box behind Su Junming. And the breath is no different from the previous two. How many spiritual treasures does this person have? His golden centipede sword is accompanied by 7 spiritual treasures. It is of higher grade than any of the opponent's swords, but he can't bear that the opponent has more swords than him, and they are complementary to each other. When combined with the formation, there is no more the power exerted by the sword is increased several times, even 10 times. Sure enough, Mr. Su's methods are superb. The poor man is willing to surrender and voluntarily admit defeat. Before he finished speaking, he saw the 3 swords merging, and the surging sword energy was like a volcano erupting, surging into the sky. Come if you want, fight if you want. Do you think Su is easy to bully? Stay here. 3 talents killing immortal sword. Lotus blossoms of 3 colors filled the sky in an instant. Every lotus flower is hundreds of feet tall, and every lotus flower is filled with murderous intent. Thousands of lotus flowers covered the sky. The lotus flower condensed with infinite sword energy instantly shrank inward, sealing the whole body of the green-robed Taoist. What a powerful sword! He is indeed the man who destroyed the Black Heart demon cult. The green-robed Taoist took out a black jade talisman from his arms and crushed it instantly. A powerful spatial spiritual power burst out, and the figure of the green-robed Taoist disappeared instantly. Huishan Taoism. Su Junming frowned. Do you think you can really run away? According to this, in a valley thousands of miles away, a black hole opened, and the green-robed Taoist walked out of it. Looking in the direction of Zhongzhou City, a trace of pride appeared on his face. Su Junming, although I am not as proficient in Huishan Taoism as you are, there are still several Huishan talismans that can be moved instantly. His expression gradually calmed down. This person is indeed extraordinary. Just a puppet has such powerful combat power. Although some rely on spiritual treasures, so many spiritual treasure-level flying swords are willing to be used by puppets. Wouldn't the spiritual treasures held by me be even more powerful? Powerful. Thinking of this, a cautious look appeared on his face, but there was also a bit of greed in his eyes. Suddenly, his expression changed. Flying back like lightning, a thick snake staff swept past. Seeing the person coming clearly, the green-robed Taoist looked shocked. Woman coiled snake, no, you are Su Junming's puppet. There was a strong wind behind my ears again, and the green-robed Taoist urged the golden centipede sword. Boom! There was a muffled sound, and a water-blue bead was blocked. Tisk! The purple thunder struck down on the head. The snake staff also swept across, plus the beads behind it. The 3 spiritual treasures were superimposed, and strong pressure enveloped them. The King Bao Taoist's expression suddenly changed, and he took out a Huishan spirit talisman from his arms again. Just as he was about to crush it, he heard a distant and calm voice ringing in his ears. Certainly. Taoist King Bao instantly felt a powerful force of imprisonment falling out of thin air. The body felt like it was stuck in a quagmire and could no longer move. Even his mana and thoughts were frozen. A large black hole about 10 feet in size appeared in the valley. His palm stretched out from it. With a slight move, the green-robed Taoist instantly flew up and disappeared into the large hole. Coiled Snake Po and Master Shenying also disappeared into the cave. In a high tower in the imperial city of Zhongzhou City, an old monk wearing cassocks was sitting cross-legged in meditation and opened his eyes instantly. A dark and angry look shot out from it. Su Junming, if you kill my incarnation, the poor monk will not spare you. 2 tiny bronze mirrors appeared in the pupils of the puppet's body, Hongxiu, and the mirror light shot out for hundreds of miles, covering the entire inner courtyard of the palace. I scanned the tall tower and looked at the radiant, majestic, and 10,000-foot-long golden dragon of luck hovering above Zhongzhou City, suppressing the unnecessary thoughts in my heart. That old demon Sahang is the Grand Master of Daong, and he is guarded by the golden dragon of luck. If you fight him in Zhongzhou City, the chance of winning is too small. Just wait, if your memory is good, this old demon will cultivate with the energy of Daong Dragon. Without the dragon energy, I won't have so many worries if I get rid of you. The dragon energy of the dynasty is transformed by the luck of the dynasty, and it also embodies the wishes of hundreds of millions of people in Daong. The power is strong enough to suppress immortals and destroy demons. Dynasty Dragon Qi is also Daong's last trump card that shocks the spiritual world. Su Junming was unwilling to provoke it unless it was absolutely necessary. Fellow Taoist Su, who was that person just now? Ye Gaiun flew over. The puppet body shook his head. I don't know either. I don't know. After nodding, the puppet body landed on the Earth God Gate. Fellow Taoist, yeah, in 2 months, the 3-year apprenticeship test will end. If you want to ask Su to refine the spirit treasure for you, you can bring the materials now. Considering that although this person was just a puppet trained by Su Junming, he was so powerful that he had already seen the battle just now. Even if he tried his best, he could only get a draw. Even if the materials were put into his hands, they would be taken away from him. After the thought fell, Ye Gaiun patted the magic bag, and a wooden box flew in front of the puppet body. The seal on it was removed, and a jade block with irregular shape and strong pure yang energy was revealed in the jade box. Xiaoyang Fire Heart Jade. I got this by chance 15 years ago in the depths of the Huoluo Desert. Because it is so rare, I really can't trust others to practice it. I have kept it in my hands for so many years. Su Junming nodded slightly. Xiaoyang Fire Heart Jade is a spiritual material of the level of insight, and judging from its quality, it is at least the best. No wonder Ye Gaiun couldn't bear to leave it to others to practice. If he hadn't seen him slaying demons and the Black Heart Demon sect, acting decently, keeping his promises, and being the only weapon refiner in the spiritual world who could cultivate spiritual treasures, I'm afraid Ye Gaiun wouldn't have taken them out. What treasure do you want to use it to cultivate? A protective spiritual treasure that can suppress external demons and subdue inner demons. The puppet's eyes flashed. Obviously, Ye Gaiun is preparing for the inner demon tribulation that is most feared by cultivators among the immortal tribulations. Fellow Taoist Su, I wonder if I can fulfill Ye's request. Certainly. There was a hint of excitement in Ye Gaiun's eyes. How long? 2 years. 2 years. Why, fellow Taoist, Ye is too long. On the contrary, wouldn't 2 years be too short? 2 years is enough. After 2 years, the Lingbao will be delivered to you. In that case, please. Oh, right. Ye Gaiun took out another jade box from the magic bag, revealing a severed root and 2 bamboo shoots connected to it. The broken roots were red in color, and the fracture was faintly yellow. It had obviously been chopped off for a long time. The extremely rich flame aura emanated from the broken roots and 2 bamboo shoots. When he first got the Xiaoyang Fire Heart Jade, Ye got this spiritual root at the same time. Judging from its grade, it is at least an immortal grade, but it has never been able to get enough spiritual energy to support it, and it cannot grow. I am not a King Mu Taoist. A monk cannot cultivate it, so he keeps it in his hands. If fellow Taoist Su is willing, I will use this treasure as a reward for fellow Taoist Su to refine the treasure. Su Junming likes all kinds of spiritual roots the most, and he fell in love with this spiritual bamboo as soon as he took it out. He took it easily. I will accept this thing. In 2 years, I will give you the spiritual treasure. Ye Gaiun bowed. Everything is free from Taoist fellow Su. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Become a disciple of Taoist priest 4 eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 393. Chapter 386. The 4 Disciples. 3 years later, the puppet body put away the earth god gate and returned to the cave of Daihuang Mountain. In the backyard of Chongshan residence, Su Junming stretched out his hand, and a drop of turbid spring water flew into his palm, and landed on the red spiritual bamboo not far away with a snap of his fingers. After getting this spiritual bamboo from Yagayun, he planted it in the backyard of Chongshan residence. With the creation spirit water of Zhuge Spring, the red flame spirit bamboo, which has never been extinct in vitality, quickly grows. In addition to the main root growing new shoots, the two bamboo shoots are also growing taller and taller. And indeed, as Yagayun said, this red flame spiritual bamboo is an immortal product. It contains the innate Taishi flame aura. He has another kind of immortal root in the middle of the mountain. Destroyed the Black Heart demon sect and killed the old demon from Montenegro. Su Junming also really relaxed. In addition to practicing, he was refining treasures, refining elixirs, and tidying up the few fairy roots he planted. At the same time, after sprinkling a drop of good fortune spiritual water on the immortal green pine over there, he came to the Tiangong Fang. Tiangong Fang was Su Junming's former alchemist, and the Tiangong divine furnace he practiced was placed here. The Tiangong Fang, which is hundreds of acres in size, is in the shape of a trigram. In addition to leaving the Qianyang position for entry and exit, there are huge shelves placed in the other 7 directions. There are forbidden laws on the shelves, and different things are placed on them. For example, there are various spiritual pills that he has refined before on the Kunyin position. There are various kinds of spiritual water on the water level. The prepared alchemy medicinal materials are placed on the Duimu position. On the thunder position are placed the spiritual materials that will be used to refine the treasure. In the middle of this trigram-shaped Tiangong Fang, there is the Tiangong divine furnace, which is hundreds of feet high and huge, with golden red flames coming out of it. As his own spiritual treasure, Su Junming can control this divine furnace without the need for seals. He only relies on his spiritual thoughts. Divine consciousness was immersed in it, and in the huge divine furnace, 24 statues of gods on 3 floors spewed out blazing fire. 2 lotus flowers float in it. A lotus flower is rich in Chinese medicine, a golden red liquid floating in a lotus flower with extremely rich pure yang energy. This furnace of 7 yellow pills is still a little short of heat. The pure yang jade liquid is almost refined. After the thought fell, Su Junming flew up and sat down cross-legged on a bagua platform in the air. Countless seals flew into the Tiangong divine furnace and began to refine treasures for Yagayun. 2 years later. Boom, the thunder is rolling. 9 thunderbolts struck down one after another. Surrounded by thunderbolts, the person who had overcome the calamity was as steady as a mountain. Demon Slayer sword. Along with the roar, a tyrannical sword energy shot up into the sky, and the thunderbolt in the air was instantly cut in half. Seeing this scene, Su Junming shook his head. Another careless one. Master, I succeeded in overcoming the tribulation. After absorbing the innate creation of the tribulation Thunder Queen, a voice filled with joy rang out from the rough man. A ray of sword light flew towards him and landed on the ground, transforming into an extremely powerful man wearing a black robe, a big beard, a leopard head and eyes. It was Yan Chixia who was accepted as a direct disciple by Su Junming 4 years ago. Master, I have advanced to the 3rd level of Jindan. Su Junming nodded. In fact, Yan Chixia had already achieved innate perfection 4 years ago. However, he has not been taught systematically and his foundation is not solid enough. Therefore, Su Junming asked him to relearn the Yuan Yang Sutra that he had comprehended, and only after he had a solid foundation did he come to overcome the tribulation. With a lot of accumulation, you will reach the 3rd level of the golden elixir once you have overcome the tribulation. Yes, come with me. Take Yan Chixia into Chongshan residence. The etiquette of apprenticeship had already been completed when Yan Chixia passed the test and first entered the cave of Daihuang Mountain. Looking at her master's back, Yan Chixia's face showed deep anticipation. The senior sister once told him that the master's disciples are usually given spiritual treasures by the master after they advance to the golden elixir, and then they can go down the mountain to practice Taoism. Now that he is successful in practice, it should be the same. Sit down. Yan Chixia quickly sat down on the futon next to her. Seeing his expectant look, Su Junming smiled faintly. Did your senior sister tell you? He, senior sister said that when master's disciples leave, they will be given 5 treasures. That's right. Today you have become enlightened, and as a teacher you will not favor one over another. He raised his left palm, and a black jade talisman, a green gourd, and a miniature bamboo building flew towards Yan Chixia. The pot heaven talisman, the green gourd for storage, and the cave heaven magical weapon. These 3 items are all standard items for my disciples. But you are luckier than your senior sister and 2 senior brothers. These 3 items are all magic weapons. With a rush of magic power, 3 treasures flew in front of Yan Chixia. Take it. Thank you, master. Since every disciple has one, Yan Chixia is not polite. He raised his hands high and accepted the treasure happily. Soon, a simple and elegant blue Taoist robe flew out of Su Junming's body. This Qingyun Taoist robe is a spiritual treasure that I refined into silk using brocade techniques. It took me 13 years to refine it. It contains the innate Bagua array, which can protect the body and ward off enemies. It is given to you. Wait for Yan Chixia to take it over. This last one is the most precious. Su Junming waved his hand, and a sword box 4 feet long, 1 foot thick, and 7 inches wide, flashing with 4-color aura, appeared in front of his eyes. When you practice the 4-elephant sword sutra taught by me, you need the 4-elephant sword formation as your natal spiritual treasure. There are 4 spiritual treasure level flying swords and the 4-elephant sword formation in the sword box. One is given to you today. Master, isn't this too precious? Yan Chixia is also a cultivator, so she naturally knows the value of spiritual treasures. It is a treasure that Yuanying and even Yuanchen level monks yearn for. He had just entered the golden elixir and was suddenly given 6 spiritual treasures by his master. It's really scary. If you don't want it, then I will take it back. Yes, yes. With a faint smile and a wave of her hand, the sword box fell into Yan Chixia's palm. This 4-elephant sword formation was not the one he first practiced, but a set he had made using the golden centipede sword he had taken from Master Sahang, as well as some magic swords and spiritual materials he had accumulated in daily life. Lingbao. The 4 flying swords and formation diagrams all have only 2 spiritual taboos. Looking at Yan Chixia, she couldn't put it down. The value of the Lingbao is too high. If you don't have enough cultivation, holding a heavy treasure will attract prying eyes. I have set up a forbidden method for this 4-image sword array, and its power is equivalent to that of a magic weapon. If you want to unleash the power of the Lingbao, you still have to do it. You need your own essence and blood as a guide to be able to do it. It's just that the Lingbao level 4 elephant sword formation is powerful and requires too much mana. You must remember not to be greedy for power or abuse Lingbao. Yes, Master, disciples must remember the teachings and never abuse them. Su Junming nodded slightly and stood up. You come with me. The master and the disciple left Chongshan residence and came to the Spirit Beast Villa. When your 3 senior brothers and sisters went out on the road, they were all accompanied by spiritual beasts. Originally, I was worried that there would be no suitable spiritual beasts for you. I never thought that you would have a great chance. It happened that this jade sword butterfly was born, so I gave it to you. While talking, the 2 came to the low mountain in the center of the lake. The iron sword spirit tree had grown to 9 feet, with its straight trunk reaching into the sky. On the branches of the tree stump at the base, 6 green insect cocoons are floating in the wind, like 6 wind chimes. The innermost cocoon had cracked, and Su Junming made a move. Feeling the material of this cocoon, His eyes lit up. "Bring me your sword case." Yan Chixia quickly handed over the sword box. A yin and yang pattern appeared on the palms of Su Junming's hands. When he put his palms together, the cocoons shattered, leaving only a wisp of light cyan sword energy, slightly thicker than hair and about 3 feet long. Out of curiosity, Yan Chixia wanted to use her spiritual consciousness to see what was going on, but as soon as her spiritual consciousness got closer, it was crushed by the sharp aura. There was a pain in my head, and I couldn't help but groan. This wisp of innate Taishi sword chi is extremely powerful. You cannot use your spiritual sense to spy on it. Yes, Master. Su Junming changed the seals with his left hand, and with a flick of his hand, the sword energy flew into the sword box. Now I will seal this ray of sword energy into your sword box. With it in the future, it will be easier for you to advance as a spiritual treasure. Also, in the future, you should learn more about this ray of sword energy and practice the 4-symbol sword sutra on you. Quite beneficial. Yan Chixia nodded. He majored in swordsmanship, and the higher quality original sword energy was of great help to his practice. Put it away. When he took back the sword box, Su Junming waved his hand, and a pale green butterfly, the size of a bowl, filled with innate Taoist sword energy, flew out from the lush branches and leaves of the iron sword spirit tree. Su Junming activated the kendo magic talisman in his danshan, and pure sword energy lingered out. Feeling the powerful kendo aura on his body, butterflies came and flew up and down around Su Junming. Master, this butterfly has such pure sword energy. This butterfly is called the jade sword butterfly. It is an ancient spiritual species and an immortal spiritual beast. I also got it by accident. Su Junming stretched out his hand, and the jade sword butterfly slowly fell into his palm. This sword butterfly feeds on sword energy and contains innate swordsmanship in its body. If cultivated properly, it will be a good helper on your cultivation path. Give. Su Junming handed it over. Master, how can I tame this beast? Feed some of your original sword energy to it. Yan Chixia did as she was told, and slowly the sword butterfly flew away from Su Junming and landed on Yan Chixia's shoulder. With a snap of his fingers, a spiritual light sank into Yan Chixia's sea of consciousness. You should meditate carefully on this set of original manual of controlling 10,000 beasts. In the future, if you condense the beast control talisman in your danshan, you can merge with Jiandi and your strength will be greatly increased. Yes. Okay, that's all I have to say. You go back and digest what you gained today, and then go hiking in the mountains in half a year. Yan Chixia knelt on her knees. Disciple, I would like to thank Master for the gift of teaching and giving treasures. In the future, you should keep in mind the teachings, slay demons, and uphold the right path, so as to live up to Master's hard work. As long as you have this intention, get up. Yan Chixia stood up. Looking at this bearded swordsman who is about the same height as himself, although he is still young, he already looks like the heroic and generous knight who sang drunkenly in a Chinese ghost story. However, the old black mountain demon has been killed by himself. It is unknown whether there will be Lanruo Temple, Nai Xiaoqian, and Ning Keichan in the future. With his right hand spread out, a golden red jade flew towards Yan Chixia. This is the spiritual treasure that I promised to refine for Ye Gaiun, the governor of Xianjing Division. Now that the treasure has been prepared, go to the Xianjing Division Yamen in Zhongzhou City when you come down from the mountain and give this treasure to him for me. Yes, Master. Yan Chixia took it respectfully and put it into the storage green gourd. If the Master has something to do, the disciple will do his job. Now, there is no need for him to send the refined flying sword to Changchun Ridge with his own hands like last time. Become a disciple of Taoist priest Four Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 394. Chapter 387 Qinglian Temple. Jingle. Accompanied by the crisp ringing of the bell, A tall Taoist priest holding a bamboo staff walked along a fairly wide mountain road. It was Su Junming who was extremely still and thoughtful. After 5 years of meditation in the cave of Daihuang Mountain, he returned to the mortal world. Because people's livelihood has become increasingly difficult in recent years, and the government has imposed heavy taxes on merchants, many business travelers avoid the tax cards on major roads and take longer routes to save money. Therefore, on this relatively smooth mountain road, you can see traveling merchants carrying cargo loads and horse-drawn carriages laden with various goods. However, the mountain road is difficult to navigate and there are many potholes in the middle. Once those extremely heavy carriages loaded with a lot of cargo get stuck in them, they will be in big trouble. Click, a crisp sound. After watching the carriage in front fall into the pit, the axle was overwhelmed and broke. The heavy cargo fell instantly. The bamboo stick in Su Junming's hand lit up, like an invisible giant hand grabbing the goods. At the same time, the stone pit that was 1 foot deep suddenly lifted up, lifting the wheel that had fallen into it. Broken axles also reconnect automatically, returning to their original shape and even stronger. Putting the goods back on the carriage, the man next to him, wearing a gray robe with a surprised look on his face, seemed to be the owner of the goods. He trotted over and bowed deeply to Su Junming. Zhang Yude from Jinhua County would like to thank you for your help. Are you from Jinhua County? Su Junming's heart moved. Exactly. How far is it from Jinhua County? About 90 miles, after a pause, Taoist master also wants to go to Jinhua. Su Junming nodded. In that case, Taoist master, you might as well go with me. I am familiar with the route to Jinhua. As soon as he finished speaking, he heard thunder in the air. Thick black clouds as thick as ink rolled in from the southeast, and it was obvious that a heavy rain would fall soon. Taoist priest, not far ahead is a Buddhist temple that has been abandoned for many years. We can take shelter there from the rain. Su Junming had always planned to play in the world. After hearing what he said, he did not refuse. Zhang Yude led a few men, drove a cart, and walked along the mountain road with Su Junming for about half a mile. A trace of cornices and brackets appeared in the forest on the left front. Although the whole picture has not been seen, the size of this Buddhist temple should be quite large. Sure enough, when Zhang Yude took Su Junming down the mountain road and turned into the dense forest along a stone road, after making a turn, a magnificent Buddhist temple appeared in front of them. The entire Buddhist temple is built on the mountain and is divided into 3 levels from bottom to top. Each level has many branch buildings. All added together, this Buddhist temple probably has 30 or 40 halls. You can imagine how popular this Buddhist temple was back then. But now, except for a few palaces, most of the rest are in ruins. Half of the Grand Mountain Gate collapsed, and the morning bells and evening drums disappeared. The half-collapsed clay statue was shrouded in cobwebs and animal dung, and was covered with thick soil. However, the crack in the broken wall was relatively clean. Zhang Yude drove the carriage through the gap and walked into the yard. Many large cars have been parked in the overgrown and spacious courtyard. Obviously, they are not the only merchants who come here to take shelter from the rain. Because most of the penthouses on both sides collapsed, the main hall in the middle became a common choice for everyone. The plaque in the center of the hall is gone, and I don't know who burned it. Stepping in, there is a headless Buddha statue sitting on the high platform in the middle. Judging from the image, it should be the Buddha Sakyamuni. Most of the 4 major Buddha statues on both sides were damaged, and the only relatively complete Guanyin Bodhisattva was missing an arm. The spacious hall is relatively clean, probably because people often come to spend the night. Seeing them coming in, the people who came first in the hall just took a look and went about their own business. We are all just businessmen, and we have nothing to be curious about. As for Su Junming, since Emperor Wu of Daongtasia destroyed Buddhism, the world has become a place for Taoists. It is normal to meet 1 or 2 wandering Taoist priests. After finding a relatively free place in the hall, Su Junming walked over. Taoist priest, you do it first. I'll arrange the goods and bring the food over. Before he could speak, Zhang Yude ran out in a hurry. Nearly half an hour passed before 4 boys came in. He came to Su Junming and opened the package on his back. A dozen full heads and several oil paper bags were exposed inside. When opened, there were pickles, salted fish, and a half-eaten chicken. Taoist priest, I'm in a hurry and didn't bring anything good to eat. Can you make do with these? Su Junming waved his hand. You're welcome. I've been practicing qi for many years and I've long been indigestible. Just eat it. Then he closed his eyes. Seeing him like this, Zhang Yude opened his mouth, saw the serious and steady face in front of him, and swallowed back the words that came to his lips. After bowing his hands, he took the food and shared it with a few waiters. Before the meal was finished, a strong wind roared like a bull outside, and the surrounding trees shook as if they were broken. Seeing this, many people were worried whether the Buddhist temple would collapse. Boom! Amidst lightning and thunder, heavy rain fell. Fortunately, when this Buddhist temple was built, drainage issues were taken into consideration. In addition, the trees on the mountain are not too high. Although there was a lot of rain, it did not cause flooding. It's just that there was a thunderstorm, and rainwater splashed in from the corners of the hall. The people who were originally resting here had to gather inside. The already crowded hall instantly became even more crowded. Uncle Joe, there are too many people here. I think there are a few main halls behind this Buddhist temple that are still intact. Why don't we spend the night there? A young man's voice rang out. Master, the back hall is not peaceful. Let's wait here. A strong man about 40 years old said. It's not peaceful. Are there still ghosts in this Buddhist land? The young man had never seen a ghost in his life. In addition, he was young and energetic, so his words were quite presumptuous. He, if you don't believe it, young man, you can go to the back hall. Those dirty things like your tender skin, the most a rough man with a knife said teasingly. Several big men who were with him around him also burst out laughing. You. The young man was about to get angry when he was stopped by the man named Joe. Those rough guys on the opposite side were wielding swords and guns, and it was clear at first glance that they were not easy to bully. They go out to seek money, and naturally they don't want to get into trouble for nothing. However, what they said made people around them talk. Old Lu, you are most familiar with this road. Is there really something dirty in this temple? Looking at his nervous companion, the man surnamed Lu in a blue cloth outfit nodded. Damn it, why are you bringing us here to spend the night if you have dirty things? Zhang Laozi, don't be ignorant. There is only such a shelter from the rain in a radius of 50 miles. If you don't come here, are you going to get wet on the road? See for yourself, you are really going to be soaked by the heavy rain outside and infected with the wind and cold. I have to lose half my life. Zhang Laozi pursed his lips and his tone became much weaker. If you get caught in the rain and still have half a life left, if you fall into the mouth of a dirty thing, 10 lives are not enough to compensate. Look at your potential. Don't worry, although Qinglian Temple is haunted, as long as you don't go to the 2 main halls at the back, you'll be fine. So, just be honest at night and don't run around. I'll keep you safe. Real. Who dares to lie about such a thing? Zhang Laozi touched his chin, which had few hairs. It's strange, there are dirty things that don't eat people. If you don't believe it, you can go to the back hall and try it yourself. Bullshit, I still want to live a few more days. Anyone who walks outside knows this truth, it is better to do less than to do more. These words fell into Su Junming's ears. Out of curiosity, his spiritual consciousness swept across the several temples behind. I see. With his current cultivation and realm, there are not many people in Daong world who can threaten his existence, and the existence behind Qinglian Temple is even worse. But they didn't look like evil beings, and Su Junming didn't bother to care. As time passed, the wind and rain outside the palace gradually became lighter. The night was getting darker and darker, shrouding the entire mountain temple in darkness. Accompanied by the fresh air in the mountains after the rain, the exhausted people gradually fell asleep as they rushed through the hall. In the second half of the night, the dark clouds covering the sky slowly dispersed, and a silver moon hung on the treetops, spreading the silvery glow across the sky to the mountains. Like a layer of bright silver gauze, mysterious and beautiful. Su Junming, who was meditating, suddenly opened his eyes, and 2 rays of light lit up the hall. Unfortunately, the people who were already asleep did not notice this scene. "Forget it, let's see what your plans are." Closing his eyes, the palace returned to calm. Not long after, a series of footsteps sounded from outside the hall. Creak, the heavy palace door was pushed open, and the hoarse friction sound instantly woke up many people who were dozing. Everyone turned around and saw a rich old man wearing a gorgeous brown gown and a square hat walking in. Behind him were 4 boys carrying lanterns. Facing everyone's eyes, the old man smiled and cupped his hands. "Excuse me, everyone. I am from Hujiazhuang behind this mountain. Tonight, my old man is getting married. I have ordered all merchants who pass by my Hujiazhuang to be invited to my Hujiazhuang to attend the wedding banquet. When I say goodbye, there are golden and jade guests. Gift. It's a good time for you all today. If you don't mind, please come with me." Hujiazhuang, when did there be a Hujiazhuang behind this mountain? Whatever, since it's a wedding banquet, it must be treated with good wine and meat. It's just a good time to go to his house to have a hot meal and have a solid sleep at night. Wouldn't it be better than the cold wind and rain in this hall? Not to mention there are take the money. After he said it, everyone's eyes lit up except Su Junming. They seemed to have completely forgotten about the evil spirits in the back hall who had been frightened like tigers since they started talking about it.